going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Batman News Weekly. This is episode 218, and Clay has returned, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need to hear my voice for another podcast. Well, the whole time.
We actually didn't know if this was actually going to happen. As far as like being able to record late, my new job, I am working for FedEx. Holy shit! Today was my first day in the vehicle training. Now I'm not driving yet. I think I will start driving either tomorrow or the next day. But delivered 255 packages.
Yeah, I'm surprised FedEx doesn't have the UPS model where when it gets to the busy season, they just get a sitter. Like somebody sits in the passenger seat and
I would have thought that's what they do, but instead they get new people to get smaller vehicles and take on the extra workload.
I guess that's probably better.
That's what I'm doing currently. But do you know what's some bullshit? I hate driving large vehicles. Okay.
Yeah, same.
And the very first test was to drive 4 blocks, taking 4 left turns in the 26-foot trucks that you see all over the place.
Yeah.
And I was like, do I need a license for this? Like, am I legally allowed to drive this before I do any like real testing for it or anything?
Yeah.
And my trainer was like, you have a Class C Texas license, which is the equivalent to drive this. And I was like, you son of a bitch. Are you kidding me?
He's well, like, it's probably because of our trucks, right?
So, yeah. And so he said the only 2 states that do that are Texas and Ohio. And so I just happened to have the one state.
That sucks.
But the funny thing is, when I renew my license, which my license is literally going to expire in 2 months, I have to get a Indiana state license because I'm a resident here now. I will then have to actually take a test for those trucks. And I think I'm just going to tell them, or you could just fit me in the small truck all year round. You know, I don't have to drive that thing.
Yeah, I would hate to do that. I've never been a big fan of like my family loves to have big trucks, and I've had to drive them every once in a while. But like, I don't know, man. Some of the trucks here in Texas is just obnoxiously big.
It's gross, dude. I surprisingly, that's the one thing that I haven't seen. I haven't seen the lifted large tire trucks here.
Yeah. I don't know, you're probably like way up there, Indiana, right? So it's probably more like y'all got like more mountainy views, or what is it there? It's not flat, right?
It's technically Midwest.
Okay.
Driving the route that I did today, or riding along the route that we did today, it was kind of flat. Like it wasn't very hilly or anything. It was all flat. Yeah.
We're very hilly here in Texas. So, but yeah, man, glad everything went there. I don't know, like, I don't think people really know how quickly you got up and went, you know?
Yeah.
So we didn't even hang out. Like, this was not, Clay literally told me I'm leaving in 2 days. And I was just like, all right. So like,
yeah, well, like if people didn't know, I was freelancing and working in mine and my wife's business for quite some time. And the whole reason why that was is because Abby needed help with the baby. After like, I guess about 4 or 5 months, it just got too much on her. And that's why I stopped working where I was working and just started being at home. But the deal was, hey, you have to get a job when she turns 1. I was like, cool. Literally nobody in Texas was hiring me at all. I applied for like almost 200 jobs in like a week. And 2 people got back to me. One person told me, hey, we're not going to hire you. And the other person said, hey, you're overqualified.
That sucks.
And I'm like, what the
overqualified thing's so weird.
It's like, it means that I can still do the job. Like, I don't understand why people, because like a lot of people say that the reasoning why they give that excuse is because they're afraid that you're going to ask for more money. I'm like, I applied knowing that you're going to pay me this much. That's all I needed. Like, just hire me. But
leave too.
Yeah. But dude, so my friend here was like, hey, just apply here, and the worst thing that can happen is they say no and you're just stuck in Texas. So I was like, okay, cool. I applied to 3 places. they all got back to me within a week, and they're like, "Hey, we can do virtual interviews, but we eventually want to do in-person interviews." And we were like,
Yeah.
"All right, guess we're moving." So
Yeah.
that's
Interesting.
how it went.
I'm wondering if like whatever you end up doing there, not saying that y'all are gonna leave anytime soon, but if for whatever reason there was a job opening back in Texas or even farther this way, if you could just transfer.
It's funny that you say that because I am also about to be hired for a side gig. Nothing like
Hmm.
too dramatic. It's literally once a night. For a company called Geeks Who Drink, and it's a
Hmm.
trivia host at bars.
Hmm.
And the person that is hiring me, I didn't know. I thought it was just here in Fort Wayne,
Hmm.
Indiana, but they're actually all over America. And he is in Austin.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, oh shit. So I probably, if y'all ever get like booming to where it's not just once a week or whatever,
Hmm.
I could do that.
Nice.
But yeah, like I also see I was so desperate for money, I basically just signed up for everything that did make me money. I'm also
Hmm.
a Disney travel agent now.
What?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. A friend got me signed up into it, and I had to just do a couple training sessions.
Hmm.
But I have my travel agency license now.
Hmm.
And if I absolutely wanted to, I could sell people trips to Disney World.
Yeah.
It's
That's
wild.
wild. That's a lot of shit. I've been editing this whole time. So like, dude, I am ready for this new channel to fucking launch because I'm just tired of seeing like here's the thing. I learned this about myself today because I was watching a YouTuber named Philip DeFranco. He was talking about how like he really enjoys food. Like, there's people that enjoy food and there's people that consume food, right?
Hmm.
I think I'm more of a consumer of food because like I need food just for the energy. Like,
Literally to survive. That's all you eat for.
yeah, I enjoy like a good pizza, a good steak, a good, I
Hmm.
enjoy it. I
Hmm.
can savor it. But like, dude, I've been eating fast food just to survive lately because I don't have the time to
Ooh.
go to the store and like go to the groceries because I'm like every 30 minutes or whatever it takes me to do this, I'm losing that time to edit this video.
Yeah.
And I've been staying up way later than I normally do, getting up way earlier than I normally do, and I'm just like fucking over it already. I'm paying people to do thumbnails. I've shown you the thumbnails. Like, I'm definitely going way more hard with this channel than anything else. But I'm like, so like, I made a joke to my friend Spoon on things. I was like, dude, I'm grinding so much. I was like, I just want to stop doing this and play my titty games. Like, that's all I want to do. Like, you know what I mean? I just want to like stop. Like, I'm fucking tired. But
Yeah.
it's just what I've been doing, man. It's been grinding. So I'm glad you're
Very
back because
nice.
now I don't have to like be out of breath trying to do the podcast. Because like I still it blows my mind that I'm able to churn out an hour.
Well, my question to you is because I edit a lot of people, I still do some freelance stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and they do solo casts. And
Mm-hmm.
there's literally times where they'll be like, oh, Clay, edit this out. And they
Yeah.
just sit there and like catch their breath for like a
Yeah.
good like 4 minutes. Was there like long pauses, or did you literally
Not
go that entire
not
time? I listened to the last podcast, by the way.
yeah. Okay.
Really good job. And I did
Thanks.
answer some questions in the YouTube
Yeah.
comments, so you guys might check those out later.
Mm, I wouldn't say so. There are moments. So every time I start off the podcast, it's like because I'm so used to being like, all right, this is where I need to stop so Clay can talk. You know what I mean? Because I have streamer brain. And
Yeah.
like on streamer brain, like the chat's usually what keeps you going. But
Yeah.
if you have a slow night and there's only like a couple chatters, you gotta carry it by
You
yourself.
got to keep going. Yeah.
And so that's what I'm used to. But no, it's like, man, if of course, if I have the luxury when you edit your own podcast and you do your own thing, like I'm gonna go take a whiz or whatever. Like, yeah, you can do that kind of stuff and just cut it out because it's so easy. It's a lot harder when it's two people and you're like, okay, where was the cut? And like, what do I got to start? What do you got to stop? It gets annoying,
Hmm.
but it was fine. But again, it was one of those things where I'm like, it's just a lot. It's just I was like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I'm so busy with everything right now. It's just insane. My job's got a lot going on too. It's crazy. But anyways, man, let's go. We had a lot to talk about today, but you said you have some important. You want to get my reaction on
I
something?
want to get your reaction on something. So I apologize if this is not everybody's cup of tea. It is comic book news, so I
Yeah.
needed to specify that with juice before I even jumped on here. I was like, hey, I got something for you. So it says here for immediate release, because I still get stuff from our contact.
Mm-hmm.
Says here DC announces the Joker Year 1.
Ugh.
February 2024, a 3-issue weekly event
Huh?
written by Chip Zdarsky.
Ugh.
Which
Fucking
I think I
gross.
was gonna post this in the comics chat in the
Mm-hmm.
Discord, but I was like, no, I want to wait. I want to wait. And I think it's so funny because the last thing you said in the comics chat is
Yeah.
Batman 139 would have been interesting at the start of Chip's run, but it's just stupid now and clearly writing to rewrite 3 Jokers.
Yeah.
This definitely could rewrite 3 Jokers.
Yeah.
And I think more so they are trying to do that because we had the discussion a couple weeks ago about Jeff Johns jumping ship and
Mm-hmm.
going and doing his own stuff at Image.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem like DC is trying to push that. I mean, they did it with Tom King, but Tom King is still their best writer, hands
Yeah.
down. I think there's a lot of good up and comers. We'll be covering one of the books later today. I think there's a lot of promising writers that are working at DC, but Tom King's still the guy moving the needle, man. Like nobody's talking about Batman. Nobody.
Nah.
Like I don't know anybody's like, dude, that last Batman issue was great. But I hear people talking about Wonder Woman all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're constantly talking about it. People talk about Brave and the Bold, but I'm just like, that's Joker, it's Batman. And of course, people are gonna talk
Yeah.
about it. But I think Tom King is still one of their best writers. But yeah, I don't know. DC, they're a big business. They are petty. So if somebody's like, "Oh, you're not gonna work for me anymore," let's tarnish your reputation or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I flat out already said this. If I ever get to be a writer at DC, pretty much everything after King's run so far, retconning all that
Retcon.
shit. I'm everything. Anything Zdarsky's done, not going to exist in my book. I think there are characters that have been created over the last 4 years or whatever that I think if you rewrite them, they could be really
That
good.
potential, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Miracle Molly could be amazing. Really sucks that they dropped the ball on Miracle Molly. I thought
Mm-hmm.
she had a great character design. And Punchline, I think, could be better too, but they're trying to make her like
Really,
modern day.
she's really fallen off to where she
Yeah.
was originally. And I think like there was something there in the very beginning where like she cared a lot about being Joker's side piece, but
Mhm.
like also that rivalry that wasn't really a rivalry between Harley and her
Yeah.
could have been drawn out a little bit more. But with this whole like podcast thing and uh with the oh shoot, I always forget the name of that group. This
Oh, the Royal Flush Gang.
Royal Flush Gang, that kind of just like fell off. The
Yeah.
stuff with the nightmares was just like
That's cringe.
horrendous with her book or with her
Yeah.
title. So I want to see more with her, but
Mhm.
I don't know what to do with her right now. Like I don't know what anybody could do with her right now.
She should have. Well, here's the thing. I was gonna say she should be the side piece, but Joker's gone right now. Like they introduced this new character that is supposed to be Joker's side piece, and then took Joker away. And it's just like, well, that's dumb. And like, I think she needs to be rewritten. I think a lot of people that Tynan created should be rewritten and made better. And some of them should die forever. So like, it's just kind of how it is. Has Zdarsky created anybody interesting at all? Like,
Uh
it's all Elseworld bullshit.
who
That's
I
like the
already I
first
already
and
forgot the who was his Doomsday? I already forgot his name.
flatline, failsafe.
Failsafe.
Yeah. Again,
Th-
nobody
that
cares.
that was so quick and so dumb at the same
Yeah.
time. Like
Batman's Batman's been back. We haven't seen Failsafe again. What's going on there?
no.
You know?
Uh, the whole thing with Zur and Ra, like that has been flat for both of us. Like we
Yeah.
are not interested in that whatsoever.
Yeah.
Um, and I think you're right. He's ridden on the coattails of other writers
Yeah.
being small little pieces of whatever he's trying to do with Batman.
Yeah. You
But
want to know what Zdarsky is? Zdarsky is the TikTok of writers. He is unoriginal and he just repurposes content and calls it his own.
wow.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Zdarsky, I
The
think
TikTok of writers.
yeah, he
love
he
that.
tries to be goofy too. He has that personality. Granted, I like that personality. I honestly, take comics aside, me and Zdarsky would probably get along, to be honest.
I would like to see Zdarsky write characters that aren't in the Bat family.
Yes.
If with that kind of wacky, silly side of Zdarsky, give him a blue and gold book. I think that would be great.
Honestly, I would probably read a Zdarsky anime. Honestly, or a manga. You know, he's got that goofy style for it. It's just you can't do like the stuff he's trying to do here just doesn't work. And so him getting a Joker, I think, is already you know, I covered 139. Interesting book, as I said, but again, I don't fucking care. It's too late. And Joker year one, I'm surprised I didn't see that on my timeline, honestly.
Yeah, it's so I don't know if there's too much here, just for the fact that it is going to be February of 2024.
So what'd you say it was a three
So
a
they
weekly?
called it here. It says for the excitement and awareness, DC announces a story within 3 issues, Batman in February of 2024. All in February. So it's a weekly event. So it'll happen.
But it's in Batman.
Yes. It's Batman 142, 143, and 144. And all 3 Batman issues are coming out in the month of February.
Okay. I like that they're doing it in Batman. Because it's just easier for me to retcon in the future. But at the same time, like that's what we've always said should be done, right? If you're doing a big event or you're doing something you want people to care about, you do it inside the main book.
You need to do it in the main book.
Yeah. So that's fair, I think, honestly.
Now the thing here, which I don't think a lot of people are taking into account, is this is I know it's only 2 issues that are being ramped up into 1 month extra, but like this messes with the issue count here. So your whole plan for Batman 1000, you gotta cut that a little short.
Well, you got to remember too that he took a break for 2 months. Remember?
That's
so like
true.
that happens a lot too. Like honestly, if we keep this pacing, I think it's still like 7 years. So like, because we're past 900 already. I think we're probably at like 912 to 915 area, and you're doing 12 a year. So
that's
like,
true.
you know, it's still got time. I do need to keep up with it a little bit more because I definitely forget about it. But it's still years from now.
Yeah.
But anyways, I do think I mean, at least it's going to be in the book. We're going to cover it no matter what. I'm glad we don't have to like read a separate book. You know what I mean? Because that's always annoying. But dude, the Joker storyline is a mess right now. Like I talked about it on the podcast. Like he's in his own last book or whatever. Then he was in Red Hood. Like you had to have read everything to even be close to understand what's happening.
Yeah, they haven't made it very coherent at all. No. And I think like that is a big issue. And like for me, I think we've both said having a Joker title to begin with was a bad idea.
Yeah.
It wasn't even about Joker. It was about Gordon chasing after Joker. And then like eventually it started to be about Joker near the end of that title. And then it just ended. And then they brought on another title with Rosenberg. So like I need, of course, we've said this before, less Joker. And I think you just need to set the record straight for him because I think there's a lot of complicated things right now. And just for the fact that Batman isn't really focusing on any of the rogues at all. And I think you need to put Batman back in order before anybody can even care about how he's going to interact with Gotham and the rest of his villains.
Yeah. I'm going to throw this out there for any writer at DC that's listening to our podcast. Because to be honest, like I was thinking about this before, because we have talked about a lot of different ideas on this podcast before, and they've like somehow gotten made. And I'm just all like, because I think I would probably do this as a writer just for shits and giggles. I'm like, I want to listen to one of these hateful podcasts or these very we speak our mind kind of podcasts, like we kind of are, and see, could I write something that actually please them? You know what I mean? Because it's a challenge. Like I love a challenge to write stuff.
Yeah.
And my thing was write a story about writing Joker out of continuity for a bit, like, you know, put him in the vault, like we've said. And at the end, you have all the villains help. Like they're the ones that put him away. And like, you know, because you can play around with the actual death of Joker because villains don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Be like, we killed him. And then all of them, like Batman's all like, oh, he's dead or whatever. And then then he's like, well, now I got to deal with all of these fucks that are going to try to take his throne. And then it's just Batman, you know, dealing with the other rogues gallery, and you don't have to worry about Joker anymore. And try to build up a new character, not a new character, but try to build up, you know, Scarecrow to take the mantle now. You know, give me somebody else.
Well, not only that, I think that would even give more of the limelight to some of the characters that we want to see more. Mothman. And Firefly and some more of those characters that we don't get to see very often. Because like we've had this discussion every so often about how there's only a core 4 villains that the public knows because that's the only 4 that DC pushes. And I think there's a lot of really interesting things about these other characters that they're not pushing that I think other people would really enjoy, which is why I really hope that, I was hoping, you know, with Batgirl, they were going to have Firefly. I was like, cool, you know, people get to see a character that isn't the Riddler, that isn't Two-Face, that isn't Penguin, you know? And I really do hope that with the Batman, or not the Batman, Brave and the Bold in the DCU, that we get to see some of that. And so hopefully, because we see a little bit how things kind of start changing if a movie comes out and we start to see a little bit more of characters in the comics, you know? So hopefully that can change in the future.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I think what we need to do, Clay, is since we want Joker to be put in the vault, we need to piss off the general audience like WB has. Okay? We need to piss off people. We need to like, what is the most precious book that we can do for DC and then make it a tax write-off? That's what we need to do.
Oh man.
You know, because dude, Zaslav he's gunning for like the most hated person in the world, like fight right now.
It's wild. So when I heard that the Coyote versus ACME movie had gotten canceled, I was like, oh, that sucks. Another movie got Batgirled. A lot of people call it that now. It's like, oh, you just got Batgirled. And then while I was doing some research on like how was this movie even like testing well? Like, was it testing well? Apparently it was testing really well. People loved this movie. I was like, holy shit. And then through the grapevine of all of these people talking about this, I found out, holy shit, James Gunn freaking produced it and wrote it. So I'm like, holy shit, like Zaslav just threw away a project that was written by his head of the DCU. Like, how bad can this be? And to find out how like some of these creators are now like saying, hey, Zaslav, fuck you. You can't do this to my future project. I think that is awesome.
I love it, dude. I love right now where we're at in society where people are speaking up, you know. We still have a lot of, you know, I think, you know, I guess you're going to have to tell me how Indiana is after you've been there for a while. But, you know, a lot of people we know are kind of like, people need to, you know, fucking just do their job and just get to that. And I'm like, no, dude, people are tired. People can't even fucking. I saw this meme the other day and like people started having a discussion about it. It was I think the NBA team, the Minnesota Grizzlies or whatever. They've been in a lot of drama with one of their stars.
Mhm.
and the tickets were $4. And the meme was like, a ticket to the Grizzlies is $4. A large fry at McDonald's is $4.16. And everybody's like, oh, damn, the Grizzlies suck. And then somebody was like, you should be alarmed that a McDonald's large fry is $4.16.
Dude, I saw a TikTok the other day that compared the prices of everything on the menu from the 90s to now.
Mhm.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
fast food is getting so fucking expensive right now.
It's insane, bro. You gotta let me know because I think your wife's on this train. You gotta let me know this because I'm just like, holy shit. I've been doing the Starbucks morning thing.
Oh,
I go
she's
get
always been on that
Yeah.
train.
So check this out. I go and I get a pumpkin spice latte and a be impossible sandwich or something like that. It's like
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
I get that. It is 12 like 65 Clay. And I've done that like 5 times
Oh, no.
already. Yeah,
Oh,
dude,
no.
because here's the thing, like, you know me, I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
So, like, I've been getting up, like, at 8 o'clock, dude, maybe even earlier some I've gotten up at, like, 6:30 before, and I'm just like, "I
Jeez.
gotta get work done, dude, I gotta get work done." I'm, like, editing, I'm doing all this work, and I'm grinding, and I need a coffee, I need something.
Well, I saw your post on Twitter the other day that
Yeah,
you're like, "Oh, coffee is my drug now," and I was
it's a
like, "Oh,
drug, bro.
no.
It's a
Oh,
drug.
no, it's got him."
Yeah, I wanna quit it already for sure, but, like, I'm only doing it because it's giving me those extra hours, you know? But I crash so hard later in the day, it sucks, like, I feel like
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
So, I just don't I've been doing I'm like, "Dude, that's $12 a pop." Like, people do this every morning, and also
Dude,
waiting for it is garbage.
now I don't recommend it, but when I was doing some heavy, like, content creation,
Mhm.
working, doing stuff with my daughter, and wanting to just have some free time to play video games,
Yeah.
um, I was doing caffeine pills.
Yeah,
Um,
I won't touch those.
yeah, no,
I saw Saved by the Bell, dude. I know. I saw it. I'm so excited. I'm just not. I know. I learned
it
my lesson. I
it
learned.
like, for me, I legit had to be like, "Hey, I need to calm down with these things,"
Yeah.
because it was
Yeah.
like, for me, I was like, "Oh, I'll just drink it with water. It's
Mhm.
healthy." Yeah, no, no, it's
Yeah.
still caffeine, and you still get the crash if you're not
Mhm.
careful. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild.
It's wild. Anyways, but yeah, so this Acme thing was crazy cuz like here's the thing, dude. I saw the news and I was like, "Oh, that's unfortunate." But I'm like, "That's WB now." It feels like and I was just shocked because John Cena's a part of it. And I was like,
Yeah,
"Damn." I was like, "They really just did John Cena like that?" Because he's not rock level, but I feel like people are like, "Oh, Cena's in this?" Which is very crazy nowadays that are like, "I'm going to go see something John Cena's in." You
I
know?
think that he's getting up there.
Yeah.
Of course, I think that the popularity of Peacemaker definitely helped him.
Mhm. For sure.
But since then, he has I mean, you're the wrestling guy. He
Yeah.
was always the fan favorite, you know?
Not for me, but I understood
But
why. Yeah.
in general for the WWE.
Yeah.
And I know that, like, he he's got the kids' hearts. Like, doing
Mhm.
the Make-A-Wish Foundation, being,
Yep.
like, the number 1
Greatest of
person
all
on
time,
the
I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, he is there. He is a star for those little things,
Mhm.
and then getting blown up the way that he has in Hollywood, they're like, "Okay, like, this person will put butts in seats." So,
Yeah.
having him alongside freaking, uh, the Wile E. Coyote
Mhm.
and these characters, I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's do this." That would be freaking hilarious, and I don't know what type of character he's gonna be playing, and we'll
Yeah.
get
John Cena, probably.
we'll talk about a little bit more of where this movie is going, because there is a good side to this cancellation of this movie.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, okay, cool. Like, I really need, like, to see that, and to see that he was cut out of it, like, cut out of, like, being able to really celebrate that
Mhm.
when it was canceled. I was like, fuck Zaslav, dude. Like,
Yeah.
the big question became, okay, how many of the DC projects are going to be cut
Yeah.
for tax
Yeah.
write-offs?
I believe that has been confirmed now that none of them will be
Yeah.
affected by this.
Yeah.
So, Gunn, dude, to be a fly on the wall in that office, I wanted to see Gunn go in there and be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I want to, because I mean, I feel like it's a little bit of shade, but it's
Uh,
also like a little bit of like, hey, I just saved this movie also. He
yeah,
posted on Threads this picture of the Wile E. Coyote
yeah,
stirring a pot
mm-hmm,
in just like a very classic look for Wile E. Coyote. And
yeah,
this was the indication that like, oh, like he was involved. He was definitely involved
for sure.
in the saving of this movie, because I did say there's a good side of this, the backlash, because it's not just a backlash of like the fans and the general like audience saying, "Oh, fuck you, Zaslav." No, we
Mm-hmm,
talked about it. These creators are like, "Hey, if this is how you're going to do business, there is no business anymore."
yeah,
And they walked out.
yeah. They canceled meetings.
They were having actual conversations with him about projects, and they just walked out. So he was like, "Oh shit, this is going to make me even less money.
Mm-hmm,
We need to do something about this." And now he is pushing for this movie to be shipped out or shopped around
yeah.
to other companies. Netflix is involved in those conversations. Amazon as well as Apple are all in
Mm-hmm.
those conversations.
I want to know if this is possible because I don't know how the tax shit works. Could WB, like, I don't know what the tax write off they got. They were going to apparently going to get $30 million for ACME, right? Can somebody be, can, like, let's say Amazon's like, hey, we know that you did a tax write off for Batgirl and that was $30 million. Can we just give you $30 million and we want Batgirl?
I don't know how that works,
Yeah.
but there was a friend of mine is a investor
Mm-hmm.
to WBD. He owns stock, and he's like super big into all of the stock talks and everything. Uh, and when he heard about the oh well, here's an addition, because I didn't add this into the notes. It says here, Congressman Joaquin Castro
Mm-hmm.
is calling for a federal investigation into WB for its handling of Coyote versus Acme.
Yeah, I saw that.
Quoting, the tactic of scrapping films for tax breaks is predatory and anti competitive. It's like burning down a building for the insurance money.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, we know about the Castros here in our city, so
Yeah. So, my friend said this is not going to go over well with WBD shareholders. De- uh, Zaslav's days as head are numbered. With the poor stock performances, cash flow problems, and throw in a congressional investigation on top of that, like
yeah,
he's sinking this ship, and he was
yeah,
supposed to set this ship in the right direction
hmm
when he first jumped onto this thing.
yeah. They need a CEO that actually cares about the properties.
Yes.
If somebody made, I was watching, I saw a clip. There's like, since this has been going on, there's a clip of Tarantino resurfacing of him talking about one of the like executives at Hollywood. And he was talking, he was like, yo, he was asking some other, I don't know, other director or other big wig in Hollywood or CEO or something like that. He was like, man, when somebody comes in, they're like, I want Johnny Depp to be riding a unicorn or something at the start of this movie and whatever. He's like, do you really think that's going to add more money to the movie? And the executive was like, it ain't going to add a fucking dollar, but it makes me happy. And it's from the standpoint that an executive can say, like, if the movie bombs, they could be like, I tried everything. I tried to put Johnny Depp in that movie and it still failed. Like, it covers their ass.
Hmm.
So a lot of people think Zaslav is the same thing. He doesn't give a fuck about the movies. He's trying to get in the green. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so like that's kind of the what's going on. Whereas if you just made banger $1 billion movie every time, now granted, WB is in a. If there's something below hell, that's where WB's at because they're trying to climb out of that because the audience hates it right now. It hates
Well, no,
everything DC,
yeah, for real. I'm not
bro.
gonna I'm not gonna say you're lying there. My problem is, I was so set on Zaslav being like, because we had the early conversations when he was first jumping on. I'm like,
Yeah,
he's gonna save WB. He's a
yeah, yeah.
businessman. All of this talk,
How
right?
times change.
He has gone so downhill, and I think with the literal hundreds of $billions that he has lost this company,
Mhm.
when he finally says, "Hey, WB's for sale," nobody's going to want to touch it. Like,
Yeah.
that's the problem,
Yeah.
is that like they're so in debt that people are going to be like, yeah, this is going to be a bigger hassle for anything.
hmm
Like,
I'm I don't know, man. I still think that like what WB has, like I could if it all comes down to Apple, right? Does Apple want to buy Disney someday? Like if that's not plausible for them, WB is the next best thing.
well, but here's the thing: there's been a lot of conversations about like rumblings, not actual conversations,
hmm
but there's a lot of rumblings about Disney about to be sold,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are saying that Iger wants Apple to buy Disney.
Yeah.
If they buy Disney, I don't think they can legally buy WB also. I think that's too many IPs
hmm
attached. And
Yeah, they
like,
won't be able to buy both. But I'm
yeah,
just saying, like, I don't know what's happening with the because like you always hear every year you hear Disney to Apple, right? But if
mhm.
that's never gonna happen and they're like, look, man, they're never gonna sell, or I don't know how it works. I think you just buy all the stocks in the world. I don't really know how it works. WB's right there, man. Imagine the new Batman iPhone that just came out,
I legit was
You
about to
know?
tell you, I
Yeah.
want DC themed iPhones because the
Yeah.
really big thing was like, do you remember like it was really popular, like the Tony Stark
Yeah, yeah.
Android or whatever? Like, you do that with Apple,
Mhm.
and that just sells, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, man. It has been wild to see everything going down with this Acme stuff. I do think that Zaslav needs to be taken out. They need a personality at CEO, you know?
Mhm.
And like somebody that's just like nice and cool. Uh I think a lot of people are just fucking like even if you're a snake behind doors, right? Like you got to put on the fake personality. Zaslav just seems like an asshole. So
Yeah.
like they need somebody that's more entertaining, somebody that's out there to be like, "Yo, yeah, we're trying to do this, we're trying to fix it," and somebody that actually answers stuff. Right now, the Twitch CEO killing it, man. People are so excited about Twitch nowadays. They're like really into it because he's there. He live streams himself. Like it just seems like he cares about the product. And I think WB needs something like that, especially like I don't know what power the shareholders have, but I think enough of them need to band together and be like, we want this fucker out, because that only improves your stock prices. I think. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I think that's everything about the Acme stuff. But not really connected, kind of semi-connected to James Gunn is we did get the writer for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, apparently. Um,
Yeah. So
I was confused by this though, because she's an actress and a screenwrite, but this is like her first script or something. I was confused.
So I think when it comes to things like this, people can do screenwrites, but
hmm
they don't always make it to the final cuts and do anything like that. Like,
Yeah.
I think this is the first time that her product, as far as a script write, is
hmm
pushed forward to an actual movie or an actual
Okay.
show or whatever. So yeah, her name is Anna. Uh, I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
don't have it pulled
butcher
up.
this last name, Nogueira, no,
hmm
Nogueira, or I can't pronounce it. Like you said, actress and playwright who is now making forays in the screenwriting business has been tapped for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
This kind of just hit out of nowhere the other day, but James Gunn apparently really loves this script. Like,
Yeah.
really, really loves it. He had, let me actually pull up the actual threads comment here. It says here, uh, a hearty public welcome to Anna to the DC Studios family. Anna is an amazing writer whose screenplay adaptation of Wonder Woman or of Woman of Tomorrow is above and beyond anything I hoped it would be. We're excited to be moving forward on this unique take on Supergirl and this beautiful star-spanning tale.
Yeah. That'll be pretty interesting. Still don't know if Sasha Kai is coming back for that yet. Um, you know?
It I so I don't know if this means that she's not, you know.
Yeah.
The really fun thing was Anna was actually uh making a Sasha Kaye movie
Mm-hmm.
that was supposed to spin off of The Flash.
Interesting.
So I think that it says right here the project is actually a redo for Anna. The writer was quietly hired to pen a Supergirl movie in 2022 when Warner Brothers was developing a project as a spin-off of The Flash. Then in post-production, Flash featured Sasha Kaye in their heroine, and the hope was to launch another DC film franchise.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
there's small hopes there.
I mean, I don't know anymore, man. With the whole nobody's coming back. You saw the podcast, so I'm off the Gal Gadot train now.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's just no way. There's no way they bring her back after all this. Which again, I said it on the podcast. She's hasn't been filmed anywhere showing these quote unquote alleged propaganda. I haven't seen it. I don't know anything. That's one thing I just kind of keep my nose out of. I'm like, that's just too intense for me. But like, yeah, man. So I think they are going to recast at least the original Justice League, and we'll see where it goes. But Sasha Kaye and some of the B-list characters, C-list characters, why not keep them around? We'll see what happens there. I hope she stays around. She seemed cool. I would like to see how she acts with stuff. But yeah, so we said this once the actors strike and writer strike was over, we're gonna start getting a bunch of news, and it just kind of seems that way. Everything's gonna be coming up. So I think gaming stuff too. Can you imagine we're gonna get GTA 6 announced pretty soon, and if they go on strike, like, we're done. We're going on strike, y'all. Who needs to go on strike? Anime studios. Because I don't know if you're hearing about the Jujutsu Kaisen stuff right now.
Yeah.
But like they need to go on strike. But I don't know if they do that in Japan.
I don't know either.
So, but they need to, because they need a union in Japan, if I've ever seen it. I have no problem waiting like 2 or 3 weeks for an episode if it's gonna look amazing. I waited like a bajillion years for Attack on Titan, and it paid off in my opinion. So I'm down to wait for good anime. Moving on, we do got another casting for Superman Legacy. So what is this?
Yeah, so her name, let me actually pull it up here. Maria Gabriela.
Yeah.
Has been casted as the engineer.
Good or bad person?
So she is a part of the Authority.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of in between, just how they operate and things like that.
Like the core cast of the Authority, or just like somebody that works with the Authority?
So she's been in and out of the Authority. But
like, is she in the photo that Gunn posted? When they showed.
Yes, okay. She is in the photo, and Gunn even said this on Threads: "Villain is such a disparaging term. Welcome to the DCU," and put her Instagram at and says, "Who is not only a wonderful actor, but she laughs in person even more than she does in her Instagram feed." And he put hashtag the engineer Superman Legacy DC Studios, and he posted a exclusive screenshot from Deadline saying that she is going to be Villain the engineer. So she will be a quote unquote villain, and like he said, villain is just a disparaging term.
Yeah,
the Authority is somebody who tries to keep heroes in check.
Yeah,
so I think in Superman Legacy, we may see like the very first clash of heroes and the Authority there. And with Superman being new on the scene, like, I think that's going to be pretty cool.
Hey, if you want to make a name for his name was Manhunter, right? Not Manhunter. Gay Batman, but that's his nickname that people call him.
Oh, Midnighter.
Midnighter. If you want to make a name for Midnighter, you have him punch the fuck out of Superman. Like, just come on the scene and be like, bam, like, we don't care about you. You know what I mean? I think some people would be like, you can't do that to Superman. Like, that's because I don't think technically Midnighter, he has powers, but not really. Like, I think he's like technologically advanced. So I don't know how that works, because he's like able to predict movements or some bullshit. At least the recent iteration of him.
Mhm.
I don't know how he has been throughout comics, but
Yeah.
if you want to just, even if he doesn't even damage Superman, but like even just makes him flinch a little bit, like I think that'd be kind of cool, you know?
Well, like I think you need to read, and it's a hefty book.
Hmm.
They actually just posted like a photo of the compendium of the Superman War World story that just kind of
Oh, okay. Is
ended. But Midnight
that
is
the
a
one where
really
he's
big,
naked all the time?
yeah.
Okay.
But Midnighter is a big part of that.
Oh, okay.
Because he's on the team with Superman when they get
Interesting.
stranded on War World, and he is kind of like he kind of definitely like brings on like the Batman type of persona,
Hmm.
but in the like fuck you Superman type of way.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah,
The way Frank Miller wishes he could write Batman every time.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Okay.
Midnighter, he's like stranded while everybody else is captured, so
Hmm.
he's like trying to get his team back and everything else. Of course his husband is being captured there too, so he's really pissed off, and so
Yeah.
he's like like people's like heads on a stake and shit. Like he is
Yeah.
hardcore in that book.
Midnighter's badass, you know?
Yeah.
I think unfortunately there are those closed-minded people that be like, he's gay, fuck him. I don't want to read that. I'm just like, you're missing out because he's a badass, dude. He's badass. So yeah, I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with that. I just want some DC movies, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we're still gonna wait forever to get one. So it is what it is. But
I
I'm
mean,
glad
we
we
got
got
one in 2 weeks or 2 weeks in 1 month.
yeah, I
So
mean, is that gonna be good though? Like, you know, it is. We'll see. We'll see. But you know, this is not on our topics list, but I heard a lot of people making a big fuss about Comixology. Um,
yeah,
what's going on with that?
of course, for people who don't know, a while back, Amazon bought Comixology.
Yeah.
And this was inevitably going to happen. It sucks because I love the Comixology app. But Comixology is going to immediately merge with the Kindle app,
Yeah.
and the Kindle app sucks ass.
I hear about that. Yeah.
It absolutely sucks. And so thankfully all my collection on Comixology is going to be put into the Kindle app, which is,
Hmm.
thankfully. But it's just like ever since Amazon bought Comixology, nothing has worked in the favor of readers.
Yeah.
And so it's just like it's just one more thing that we have to deal with somebody rich being like, "Oh, I'm just going to take that cuz I want to make more money."
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have the option with Comixology to export to your own kind of app, like the file?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So the really shitty thing is that a majority of Marvel and DC comics are like, no, you can't download the book that you just bought
Yeah,
because
it
you need to
sucks.
just read it here so that way you can't physically own it.
Yeah.
Whereas the indie publishers, some of them will allow you to actually download it and you can keep it onto your other devices if you absolutely wanted to.
Yeah. You know what, man? I say if you actually paid for the book digitally or physically, I think it's okay if you download it digitally somewhere else. I'm just gonna say that. I don't, you know, I'm just saying because they used to do that. They used to give us the fucking free book.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah,
Like
it was so
like that was
stupid.
that was a really big thing for DC. DC
Yeah.
started it first. DC started it with New 52. They're like, with every book that you purchase, you will get a
Hmm.
digital version.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool because of the evolution of digital reading.
Yeah.
Was hot off the presses and everything else. Then Marvel started doing it, and then it just died. It
Yeah.
just died. And I think the main reason why is because you have people, there is still somebody, I
Hmm.
know that there is still a customer to the comic shop that we used to go to, that I used to work at. He buys two physical books, one that
Hmm.
he's never going to open, one that he opens, and he buys an extra digital copy.
Yeah. I would
It's
love to have that
insane.
kind of money. That's just crazy to do that. But yeah, the thing is like also digital books should not cost the same amount as fucking physical books. I think
No,
that's so
not at
dumb.
all. I don't think so.
Like yeah, so like you know what? I'm not gonna stress about because here's the thing. There was that DC Comics app, remember? That's where I was buying the what was that one run that had the good Joker story in it that wasn't Carpenter, but the, you know, Babushka one or whatever.
Yeah, it was
That
Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights. I have all of those books on that weird ass DC app that's dead now because they have DC Infinite. And I'm just like, well, now I just have to keep this dead app on my phone to be able to read these books. Like, it's so
That
dumb. So
sucks.
it's like, bro, I might as well just fucking download them somewhere else if I can't export them. Like, that's so idiotic.
Yeah.
So like it's just really
Ooh,
dumb.
I should check because I own all those on Comixology. I should
Yeah.
see if those are some that can be exported.
Yeah.
Because you have the occasional book, but
Mhm.
a majority of Marvel and DC you cannot do anything with.
Yeah. Like it's just I don't know. It's that whole thing is kind of dumb. But moving on to our next topic, which haven't had this in a while. Gaming talk. What? I haven't looked into either of these two topics, Clay. I've seen the rumblings about like that the Suicide Squad was gonna have some new news, but I don't know what's going on with either of these two things.
So I thought, hey, because they made a big announcement like,
Mhm.
hey, you're gonna see some gameplay, blah blah. You're gonna hear the team talk about the game. And I was like, okay, they clearly hear some backlash. And like one of the big things was immediately after the backlash, or like after the actual like footage of the game and like learning that it's gonna be like basically a battle pass type of game and all of that stuff. People were calling for, hey, just remake the game, remake the
Yeah.
game, remake the game. And on public posts on Twitter, the developers are like, "Hey, we're having an update to the core game." And people were saying that, and they're like, "We can't do that." So
Yeah.
they know that they've already have a core game that they have to just it has to stay the same.
Mhm.
But a little piece of me was like, let's see if they have actually learned anything
Mhm.
and if they're going to change things up. No, not at all. They are doubling down. This is it, like they tried to really focus on the story in this developers video that they did the other day,
Mhm.
and then they're like, oh, it's up for pre-order and you can get all of these Justice League costumes for your Suicide Squad. You can get an exclusive gun, paint
Yeah.
stickers, and all of these other things if you buy it or pre-order it digitally. And I'm just like, you you're not doing anything for yourself here. Like
Yeah.
like there has been several rants from me, not just in the DC gaming news, but the Star Wars gaming news and everything else. The genre of battle pass gaming, people are vocally saying,
Mhm.
fuck it. We don't
Yeah.
want it anymore.
Yeah.
And for me, you have games like freaking uh God of War, Spider-Man 2,
Mhm.
Baldur's Gate, all of these hardcore awesome storytelling games that have been literally the only thing people talk about for
Mhm.
the entire year. And then there's still companies that are like, "Oh, but subscribe to our battle pass." And it's just
Yeah.
like, you're not making any money. Like, stop.
I I would like to see a studio that wants to make extra money, right? Off of a good game or whatever. Like let's take Spider-Man 2, right? You do Spider-Man 2, be like, "Hey, we want to make a DLC or we want to add some new skins in the game, this will be purchasable to do it. We let y'all vote on it." Like they let the core and whatever gets the highest things, that's what they're gonna make. They're like,
Yeah.
all right, y'all want a Black Widow skin? We're gonna put a Black Widow skin in the game. It got the highest votes, and then they do that. And that way, people are gonna want to. They're like, oh, they got voted for this. It's gonna pay for it. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Like I'd be curious to see stuff like that, or like Boulder's Gate. Like, oh, we want to do some cosmetic stuff. Y'all vote on what y'all want, and then
Yeah.
like they do what gets voted on instead of just making like Apex Legends does themes, and then they
Mhm.
do it for like fucking characters I don't even give a fuck about. Like I'm like, dude. Now, granted, you can't always just do like we're gonna make a Batman skin every time because everybody's always gonna vote for the Batman skin. Like you got to throw a
Mhm.
Superman in there, you got to throw a Wonder Woman, but like you rotate those the popular characters out, and then you kind of do that kind of stuff. But I wish they would do something like that. But yeah, I've seen the vocal just like people hate. A lot of people are getting tired of the remakes too.
Yeah.
Like, Call of Duty, apparently worst campaign ever, according to that Call of Duty fandom, which is the new
Really?
Modern War. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. Like, I heard it's terrible.
Like
Uh,
I want to see somebody, and I think it was the voice actor for, oh shoot, help me out here. Main character of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh my God. I want to say Walter, but it's not Walter. It's Morgan.
More, yeah.
Yeah.
So, no. Is
It's
it
not.
Morgan?
Is it Morgan?
No. That's Walter Morgan. Is the second person that you play? Who's the first
Oh,
one?
are you talking about Red Dead
Arthur.
1?
No,
Oh,
two.
Arthur. Yeah, Arthur.
Arthur. So the voice actor of Arthur, Roger Clark,
Mm-hmm.
uh, recently posted on Twitter about how a studio is laying off like 25% of their developers.
Yeah.
And he talked about how like the genre of like this whole subscription base, like people are also getting tired of it. Your answer should not be, hey, we need to fire these people because we're not making money. It's, hey, we need to be more creative and create games people actually want to play.
Yeah, I agree.
That's like the big
I
thing.
still play Red Dead from time to time.
I've
I think
really been wanting to go back and play the story again.
I didn't think I was going to ever say this in my life. I want DLCs again. I want
Yes.
I want an expansion to the current game I already love. That's going to be like
Mhm.
maybe an hour or two, like a good little expansion, maybe some fun mini games for $20 to $30.
See, and that's the thing, because I think that it did go a little overboard. Like as DLC were kind of like dying out,
Mm-hmm.
companies were like, "Oh, here's a DLC for $69.99," and you're like, "That's a
Yeah.
whole nother fucking game for like 2 days worth of gameplay." Like,
Yeah.
this is shit. Like, you can't do
John
that.
Marston was the other. I'm sorry, I was searching for it the whole time.
Marston. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I was like, it's not Morgan. I was like, Morgan's The Walking Dead.
Oh,
So
that's true. Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
You're right. You're right.
I had to search for it. Sorry.
So, but yeah, I want DLC. Like, I
Yeah.
genuinely want, like, because Spider-Man 1 had
Mm-hmm.
DLC.
Yeah.
It had a full storyline. You had like side missions inside of that extra storyline. It developed like future stories that you could do with a sequel or whatever. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I want. If you tell me, hey, I'm gonna, make a new Batman game and we get DLC for it, I haven't played it, but people love the Batgirl DLC for Arkham
Mm-hmm.
Knight. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
I
what
love
you
it.
need.
I love
That's
that.
what you need.
Yeah, no, those were great. I mean, dude, they're still, and we just talked about it a couple weeks ago. They're still updating that Batman game with the new suits or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I think you bring back the DLC, but like make it worthwhile DLCs, you know? And don't fucking $60 me. Like, don't do that to me. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
no. It
20
it,
to
it
30
doesn't
bucks.
20, 30
Okay,
bucks.
the best one recently, the Ada version of Resident Evil 4. That remake was like a solid like 6 to 8 hours of
Mhm.
gameplay, and it was $10.
See, and that's what I was gonna say. So I remember also, I think it was either Arkham Origins or Arkham Knight, one of the two.
Mhm.
There was like a costume pack, and it was $5.
Yeah.
That is okay. I'm
Mhm.
cool with $5. If I'm getting like 6 to 10 costumes, cool. But if you're going to make extra like missions and games and stuff, I'm okay with saying, "Hey, that is going to cost more, so I'm gonna pay
Mhm.
a bit more." But don't say, "Hey, you need to buy a full length, like, or full, like, game
Yeah.
purchase, like the 69.99 that most of these new generation gaming games are."
Mhm.
I'm just not gonna do it. People call the Miles Morales a glorified DLC, and they might be right, but there was still enough content in there to
Yeah.
buy the $40 game that it was. It wasn't even a
Mhm.
full price game, but it was still $40. They like were able to use the same map and everything else, but they built an actual original story around that.
Yeah.
So that's why it was worth it.
I will, and I'll go on record saying this. I will pay a full price for this. Red Dead Redemption 2 Undead. What was it? Was it Undead? Was it Red Dead Redemption Undead?
Yeah,
Undead?
for the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, give me that. But part 2, and you're a alive or like undead Arthur Morgan. So he's a zombie. He's come back. He didn't die. He comes back and he's fucking shooting all the other zombies. And
Fuck.
the story ends with him going after Dutch.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
give me that, dude. Give me that, dude.
I would pay full
Fine,
price for that.
I'll pay $100 for that. Like, dude, give me something like that. Cause like that'd be here's it in. If you don't want to fuck up the story, because they probably want Dutch for maybe season 3 or part 3, right? At the very end of the DLC, Dutch wakes up from a nightmare. Bam.
Boom.
Story keeps going.
There you go.
Yeah, fucking hire me, bitches. Like, I'll make y'all money. But anyways, moving on. So yeah, Suicide Squad doesn't seem like it's, but I'm not gonna lie to you, Clay. I saw some of the footage of Harley Quinn swinging around and stuff. That looked kind of cool. I was like, oh, it's not bad. I don't know why she has powers. It looks like she has like a jumping power.
So it's all based off of the technology that they find. So we saw the original footage that showed Boomerang with speedster powers. And I was like, oh, well, there's actually some sort of comic book accuracy for that for Boomerang's son and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, come to find out, they are doing a heist for a at the Hall of Justice.
Mm.
And they have like all the trophies on display of the heroes' weapons.
Yeah.
And so Harley Quinn grabs the Batarang, which also has like a bat glider there as well. So she has that as a tool. Boomerang has Speed Force gauntlets that he now uses. Deadshot grabs of course, jetpack booster thing. I
think Croc has something. Not Croc. Shark has something like that too.
Shark has something as well, but they did like play a joke on him where he grabbed the Riddler's hat, and Harley Quinn was like, "Oh, you grabbed the Riddler's hat of invisibility," and like he puts it on and like acts like he's invisible and stuff. Like that was kind of funny, but like they gave a reason for why these characters have the tools that they're going to have to progress through the game.
I'm fine with that.
I'm cool with that. But it's just the core game itself is what the big problem is. And again, you can think of this as like, okay, it's an Elseworld story. It's not like comic book continuity or anything, but it is the it is the continuity of the Arkham games. We've been told this. And like they're like, oh, well, if you remember, Penguin was kind of ran out of Gotham and everything else. Now he runs like this anti-hero like weapons division in Metropolis. And so they're like throwing all of these reasons why these characters are in Metropolis, which is the main like city that you're going to be playing in. And I'm just like, these things are a little too convenient, and maybe it's just for the fact that like I have a bad taste for this game anyway, so I'm probably just like finding things to hate about it. But I'm just like, this is genuinely a game that I can wait until it's on the PlayStation Network.
Oh yeah, I just saw Harley like jumping off a building, and that looked really cool. And then, but this is streamer brain too. When they were like, pay for the deluxe edition and get it 72 hours early. I was like, oh, the views on that might be good. I was like, 3 days early before everybody else. But I don't know. I don't have time to play anything. Gotham's Knights. I said I was gonna wait for this. It's free for me now, so like I could download it if I wanted.
Oh, really?
Because I buy the second tier where I get games for PlayStation. It's not the max one, but so it's on there. So I was like, I was like, do I really want to play that? I was like, let me play Genshin Impact, you know? So like it's there. I said I wouldn't play that game until
you see that what do they call it? The what's the universe for Genshin?
Hoyoverse?
Yeah, they're adding another game with like
Zen 00 whatever. That one looks really good. I think I signed up for it. Yeah, it looks awesome. I'm waiting for the GTA one though. I don't think that's Hoyoverse, but like the one everybody's like, yeah, just stole it from Spider-Man. I was like, I don't give a fuck. That looks awesome. Like I was like, I want to play that. So like I'm waiting for that one to come out. But the Zen 0, whatever the fuck it's called, it's like 3 Z's. That one looks fun because it looks very different from Genshin, but like same kind of vibe. And the fighting just looks more intense. So I'm just like, I was like, I'll play that one. but it's still like far from, because the thing that sucks is it starts on PC first, and
Yeah.
then it takes like fucking 8 months or whatever to get to console. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
just wait the 8 months and drop it all at the same time, please. Like, you know, but it is what it is. But the good thing is that that game company at least lets you go between all of your profiles and it's all connected.
Yeah.
So like that's really cool. But anyways, last thing is Wonder Woman game include battle pass question mark?
Yeah, so, like, as soon as I, like, had these rants about, like, the Star Wars game that's coming out, which is, Bounty Hunters or whatever it's called,
Mhm.
and, of course, this whole thing with, Suicide Squad, like, I had this huge rant on Twitter and with my friends and stuff. Almost immediately after I was done with this rant, this news came out, and it says
Mhm.
here that the Wonder Woman, video game that is apparently still being made, uh it says Wonder Woman job listing suggests it may be a live service game.
Mhm.
And I'm just screaming at myself. Why? 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 Why?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't need it. Like the live service can mean multiple different things, but nowadays live service just means hey, you're going to have to pay so much for extra things that we're going to give you monthly.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks. I don't think anything's as worrisome as what the GTA CEO said. Did you see that?
No.
Where he thinks eventually video games, and I could be paraphrasing or I could be taking it out of context, I don't know, but I saw this reported from a few people. He thinks video games should move to a model where you pay per hour because they provide so much entertainment.
No.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
you're getting to the point of like freaking
That's greed on another level.
that's Ready Player One type of
Yeah.
level shit.
It
Like
was that's true. Somebody equated it to they're like, it's like Spalding letting you buy a basketball, but then once you hit 1,000 bounces, you gotta like pay for every bounce after that.
that's stupid.
Like the ball just deflates. Like, yeah, it's insane, man. Like, I was like, change him, give me a new CEO. Fuck that guy.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think GTA. I don't think they're dumb enough to do that because they're the biggest. If I'm not mistaken, at least in terms of video games, I mean, Fortnite might have beat them, but before Fortnite, from my understanding, biggest video game of all time in all of media, actually.
I need to know what their influx of actual IRL cash is for
Mhm.
GTA 5 because
Oh, it's
people
billions and billions and
I was
billions,
gonna say people have to still be buying those shark cards.
dude.
Like,
Yeah, I would have viewers buy me shark cards so I could play because I was like, guys, I just don't have the time to grind. They're like, oh, we'll just donate you $20 right now. I was like, oh, okay, and I would just
that's
buy shark cards.
insane.
And I still don't have there's people that have everything in that game. I don't have the
That's
yacht.
insane.
The yacht is like $8 million, which is cheap now. $8 million, and like that's like $100 shark card. So
That's
like
insane.
I can only imagine the people that have the excess cat like the whales. But it's funny, man. Had I been playing GTA when I had like when we were both working at our old job, like the way I played Genshin, I can only imagine how much money I would have spent on it. You know what I
Well,
mean?
but like the thing for me, like my game, like my live service game right now
Hmm.
is Marvel Snap.
Yeah.
And for the first time ever, I paid uh real money outside of the battle pass. And I
Hmm.
was like, that felt dirty. Like I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
Cuz with a card game, it's literally just variants of a card. Like
Hmm.
that's it. And it's basically the same thing as like paying for like a new character in Genshin. It's just like, oh, I just need the aesthetic of this new character. And you know, it might do a new thing here and there. Like the variant of a card, it doesn't do anything new. It just looks different than
Yeah.
the original base card. And I've told Abby, I've told the other friends that I have that are in the community of Marvel Snap, it's like this will be the only live service game that I think I'll play. Like I'll
Yeah.
still have like PlayStation Network to play games consistently on PlayStation,
Mhm.
but I will never go as hard as I do on Marvel Snap with like Fortnite or
Yeah.
GTA or anything else like that.
Yeah, oh man, I'm not even gonna say that about GTA. There's just no way. I can't like because I don't know what GTA is gonna give me. I might be like, oh fuck, you know. But like I cooled off on Apex. I haven't bought anything Apex in a really, really, really long time. Genshin, I went hard recently with Eula, but I maxed her out. That's my favorite character. So like I don't really think I need to do that anymore. Even the new characters I've seen that I like that look cool. I haven't been like, I need that character. There is one that might come out eventually, though. She look kind of hot. Might buy her. But for the most part, like, yeah, I just look back on the 2 games I grinded on mobile because mobile is dangerous because it's everywhere you go.
It
You know?
exactly, dude.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing is like Marvel Snap. Like I play majority on my computer. Of
Hmm.
course, with the move, I've had to just play on my phone,
Yeah.
and like it's just
It's dangerous
constantly there. It's
because
constantly there.
I've probably spent like over $1,000 on Dokkan, DBZ Dokkan, Dragon Ball Z
Oh
Dokkan,
yeah.
and
How much on the
it
Simpsons game?
I don't know if that's over 1,000, to be honest, but that's over
Okay.
years though. So
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I wonder, can you? There's got to be records of your mobile purchases, right?
I think so. I
I just
think
don't know how I would.
specifically if you have like something like Apple, who was so
Yeah,
strict on some of those things, I think you should be able to
I might
dig
make a
through all that.
short one day and be like, this is how much money I've spent on video games over the course. Like that could be an interesting video.
That would be an interesting video.
Because like I'm not somebody that has a lot of money, but just saying like like
Well,
even
no,
as
like
somebody,
especially with the conversation that we're having with live service
yeah,
gaming and how like people are changing their minds on it. Because yeah, like the idea of it was fun. Like,
hmm,
hey, like every month we get to pay not like a full purchase of a video game, but like maybe just a little bit. But the thing is that it's constantly
yeah,
ongoing forever. And that's when it gets like, okay, guys, like chill
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. It's an addiction. It's pretty bad. But I think that is all we have, unless anything has come up on Twitter in the time we've been recording, because we don't really record late. So like we have the chance of news breaking while we
I
record now.
think that is it for well, actually, hold on.
Oh, why is Justice League trending?
Um, well,
Oh,
oh, you know what? The one thing that did come out as far as a date, I believe the Batman Christmas special
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
has
saw that
a
was showing.
date now. Um, and let's see if I know that it was here. Joker looks absolutely terrifying. Did you actually see there's a 2-minute trailer out there now.
No, I clicked on this Justice thing right now, and somebody was like, Justice League animated by Shung Ho Park, which is the director of Jujutsu Kaisen. It looks amazing.
So I've only seen a GIF. I've looked for it everywhere and I can't find
Yeah,
it.
this is like a 5-minute video. Like even Cyborg looks great.
It
Um,
looked like the small GIF that I found
yeah,
looked amazing.
I just
And
liked it on my
I
Twitter.
want to actually watch it. Oh, so it says here an official trailer for Prime Video's Merry Little Batman has been released. Merry Little Batman follows the father-son Christmas adventure of Damian Wayne and Batman. It says here, watch the Batman Christmas special on Prime Video December 8th.
Damn, dude, I'm looking at a trailer for Suicide Squad, and they have the classic costumes for them. Harley looks awesome.
Oh no, Juice is
Yeah.
gonna buy this game,
Dude, they
guys.
even have Deadshot's classic costume. Like
Oh
it looks
no,
pretty fire
guys, Juice is
too.
gonna buy this game.
Dude, everybody knows I'm a sucker for that classic Harley Quinn suit. I love that suit so
Oh
much.
man.
But I don't know. I'm a wait for reviews kind of guy. Like if that
Yeah,
game comes out and it's like a 60, I don't buy it.
yeah.
Like it needs to be at least an 80 for me to be like, all right, I'll buy it. But because like the last 20% is that's just you're fighting for perfection. So I think I was a B person in my school days. I don't have a problem with playing a B rated
Yeah.
game or watching a B rated movie, But yeah, I think that's all we got for news right now. But Merry Little Batman, I did see that coming out. That is that really wonky looking drawing style, but I
Yeah.
feel like that weird style adds character to it. Like I think it looks really cool.
I think that like especially like I haven't watched it yet, but like the animated shorts for the Boys universe, like
Yeah, I haven't
that
seen those
kind of went
either.
all wacky, and I just think Amazon does that really well.
For sure. Yeah, before we move on to questions though, we should probably let people know that at least for the remainder of the year, the podcast will probably be coming out on Fridays because we're going to be recording later because of your
Yes.
job, right?
Yes.
So, more than likely, the way it's going to happen now, ladies and gentlemen, is we're probably recording. So, Clay's an hour ahead of me now. So, we're probably going to be recording around 5 or 6 o'clock my time. And then he's going to be taking over the podcast editing duties. So, he's going to be uploading the next day. So, that's
Yeah.
how it's going to be. So, podcasts are more than likely going to start being Fridays. And once once I'm done with the new channel and Clay's situated where he's at now, we can finally probably get back to making content, and maybe we can give y'all more content Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, which would be kind of cool. But we kind of, we just got a lot going on right now. So
Yeah. Yeah, for
just wanted to
sure.
let y'all know about the changes in the podcast. You'd be like, why are you guys late? It's like, well, we got a lot going on. So that's what we got. But let's move on to questions. All right. First up, we have the Discord. We got Arwitz that says, who would win? Omni-Man going for the kill versus Superman, Batman versus Black Panther, both have prep time, and Bat Family versus Spider-Man.
So I saw this earlier today because he thought that he was a little too late for questions today. And so Omni-Man going for the kill versus Superman. This one's rough. You don't know the comic version of Invincible. You've only seen a little bit of the show, right? So oh shit, I forgot what species they are, but they're a play on Superman's character. Their planet. Well, I won't get into spoilers because of the show.
Well,
But
season 1, apparently they get thrown, like they're going to take over the universe as far as I know, right? They're spread out across the universe to take over.
Yeah. And they can fuck shit up. I will say this: near the end of the series, in the comic, there is literally a fight on the surface of the sun. And these beings can like hurt each other. So like flesh and like bone and all sorts of stuff was just melting while these people were still fighting, and it was fucking intense. I almost want to say Omni-Man, but Superman is just so stupid OP.
Yeah.
That I'm gonna have to give it to Superman.
Yeah, because like, isn't Superman get stronger the closer he gets to the sun or some shit?
Yeah.
So like, it wouldn't even matter if they fought on the sun. Like, you're gonna get fucked up.
And the thing is, you could be like, oh, well, what if you put him next to? I mean, the red sun completely destroys his powers, so he's dead there. But like the different colored suns, like a brand new sun, a blue sun, like all of these different suns can change the way like Superman reacts. Whereas Omni-Man is just because of his homeworld and how they are grown. So, I'm gonna give that to Superman every single day.
Yeah, Superman's just super. Doesn't he like turn gold at one point?
Yeah.
Like it's just he's too OP. I'd go Superman there too. Batman versus Black Panther. I mean,
with both of them having prep time.
But I don't know if Black Panther's really known for prep time though. Not the way Batman is.
Not necessarily, no, but he is a tactician. He, like every single Black Panther, has been, of course, the king of Wakanda, but more so like the commander in chief of their army. So they are a tactician. They have to think about war and all of this other stuff. So I will say he does have experience in prep time. This though, like, I don't know, like, because Black Panther has, of course, like it's not just his armor. Like he has like actual powers and everything. But like Batman doesn't necessarily have anything like vibranium,
Mhm.
and the oh shit, what's the is
Well,
it
it's ninth metal is
nth metal?
armor.
Yeah,
Yeah, nth
yeah.
metal, yeah.
Uh, but like they literally almost like grow it slash mine it in Wakanda.
Mhm.
So it's just like a constant resource that they're always building and growing and all of this stuff within Wakanda. Um, I think I think Batman has the better the leg up here because of the experience. Black Panther, he is a nation leader. He is somebody who has definitely seen war and all of that. But Black Panther has not gone up against the individuals that Batman has. He just
Yeah.
hasn't.
Yeah.
Um, and I
Well,
think
like my biggest thing would be like, has the just or the Avengers, I guess, the Avengers had do they go to Black Panther to run everything? You know what I mean? Because
no.
the Justice League does with Batman. They're like, he is our general. You know what I mean? He does everything. And so if they're using like, although he is not the strongest one on the team, he's essentially the smartest one on the team. So
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like if you go to that guy, I don't see Black Panther beating that guy.
No, like in recent years, like they've wanted to push Black Panther to be more and more involved with the Avengers, but like the Black Panther writer is wanting
Hmm.
to separate him more and more from the Avengers.
Yeah.
They are not coherent whatsoever. Um, but when it comes to things like that, it is usually either Captain America or Tony Stark. Those
Yeah.
are the two people that the Avengers goes to when it comes to either like planetary needs or whatever. It's
Hmm.
always those two.
Yeah. It feels like Marvel, like Batman was created, right? He's like one of the OGs. And Marvel just feels that they're like, all right, we need to take parts of Batman and make characters out of that.
Yeah.
And, and that's kind of how it is where Batman does it all. And like everybody else is like, well, they're the rich guy, they're the general guy, they're this. And it's just like that's tough. Like it's really hard to, beat Batman when it comes down to it. So
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I'd go there. And then so Spider-Man versus the Bat Family, I think a lot of people are like, it's gotta be Spider-Man, like hands down. But like it's the Bat Family's kind of like ridiculous at times too.
They are. And I will say, I think this is a little bit of an unfair fight.
Yeah.
You're taking all of the Bat family
Yeah.
against Spider-Man. I understand that we have said Spider-Man is basically the Batman of Marvel in the
Yeah.
sense of like rogues gallery and popularity and things like that. But like Spider-Man has a family too. So why couldn't it be the Bat family versus the Spider family, you know?
Yeah. Mhm.
I think that would have been a little bit more of a fair fight, although I think at that point the Spider family might actually be a little bigger than the Bat family.
Probably.
Um, but uh I I think I would have to go Bat Family here.
Mhm.
Um, I understand we have things like the Spidey sense and everything else, which does give a leg up to Spider-Man, but this family is ultimately trained by a Batman.
Yeah.
And I do think Batman can get a leg up on Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is kind of an unfair fight. I think a lot of people, and also if you get rid of the spider sense, because like you can distract him, right? If you get rid of that, then it's like it comes down to his fighting prowess and all that kind of stuff at that point. And he's of
Mhm.
course he's like his. Are we dealing with a cartridge based Spider-Man? You know, because like
Yeah.
can the webs get taken out at some point? Because I think the Bat Family would aim like if they knew it was coming out of cartridges or they knew it was coming out of a device, they try to break that first, and then you just
Yeah.
lose all your webs. But I mean, he is super strong and stuff like that still. But I mean, the Bat Family's faced that before, so
Yeah.
it's I think it
And
is a bit of a.
there is a Spider-Man like villain in the
Mhm.
DC universe. I can't remember his name off the top of my
I
head.
think his name is literally Spider.
Which is absolutely hilarious because in Young Justice,
Mhm.
he was voiced by Josh Keaton, who famously voiced Spider-Man in Spectacular Spider-Man.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was probably a little bit of an unfair fight there. But moving on to the YouTube, we have Clay responding to the podcast.
Yeah.
So
because the question was, is there any like untold secrets about
yeah.
Fanboy Clay now that he's not on the podcast or whatever? And I like how you couldn't think of anything other than how fucking terrified I am of scary movies.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, because I mean, for those of you that don't know, like, we talked about probably your craziest stuff, or at least some of your crazy shit on the podcast I had back in the day, you
Yeah.
know. And I think that would have probably been the juiciest stuff. But I mean, people kind of talked about that. But I was like, let me, because and anything else, I'm like, I mean, I'm not trying to fucking piss off Clay. I was like, what's something we talked about on the podcast, you know?
No,
And
and it was a box of Sour Patch Kids that I was like
okay, I was
munching.
wondering because it sounded
like,
crunchy.
yeah. So
Yeah.
and I just remember, dude, every single time, because it wasn't just it wasn't just the clown.
Mhm.
There was a moment in time where he turned into like that old woman, and then that old
That
woman
was literally the
like,
scariest part of the film. Yeah.
the turned like super huge inside the apartment
Yeah,
building, like that. I was like, oh shit.
That was creepy because it also had old lady body.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that was terrifying. But yeah, no, like that was the creepiest part of the film for me, for sure. But I just remember hearing the crumpling like right next to
like it was like it was like my stress ball, and I just couldn't
Yeah.
squeeze it enough. But
It was funny.
so I said in the comment section, I said, I'm terrified of clowns, but I'm not very fond of scary movies either. Like like if there is a trailer for a scary movie, like there's some trailers that I just get like too like about, and I won't finish the trailer.
Yeah.
There's some scary movies nowadays that I'm just like, I think I could watch that. But like what's the famous one that has like its own universe now, and like there's like
The
7
Exorcist?
movies? No, not Exorcist. The one with Aquaman's brother.
Aquaman. Oh,
Insidious.
Yeah.
I ain't touching any of that.
Yeah.
Hell no. Hell no.
Yeah, I don't really watch a lot of horror movies. I think horror movies are better when you watch them with somebody. And like, so I don't really do much of that because I'm usually watching things on my own. There was one recently because a friend of mine and I were, before COVID hit, we were working on a short film, and it was going to be like a suspense horror kind of film. And we were like, we want really good sound design because that's like what we're shooting for, because it's not going to be a lot of like dialogue because it focuses on like one person, right? And my friend was like, dude, I just saw this trailer that has amazing sound design, and it's Guillermo del Toro pimped out this film because it's on Hulu, and it's about aliens. And dude, that, I forget what it's called, like when they were here. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a Hulu exclusive. And oh my God, that trailer was intense. Because the sound design is so great. It's about like aliens that showed up in this small town, I think. And it's just fucking crazy.
No one will save you?
I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Like there's this one scene where they're all like frozen in time, and it looks like crazy. And then, but like they show the aliens in the trailer, like there's like no problem. Like they're not trying to do the whole like, oh, we're gonna wait until the very end. No, they fucking straight up show the aliens, and they look creepy. Like they look like the generic aliens you would think of, but they look intense.
Just it has the girl from what's her? Oh shit!
Is it Mean Girls? Is that her?
No.
But it's a blonde chick, right? It should be a blonde chick, I think.
Yeah, she's become a little bit more popular in like the TV scene. I know that she's actually, I think, I forgot. I sometimes forget that we're on this new thing and I can just share my screen with you. Sharing it now.
Yeah, her. Yeah.
Okay, she's in talks to be Abby in Last of Us season 2.
Ah, interesting. She's gonna need to bulk up.
Yeah, for sure.
But I could see her being Abby for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, like if you watch that trailer, it's intense. Like the sound design's fucking great too.
I'll have to
And
check it
like
out.
I was watching that, I was like, dude, I was like, that looks intense. And that was kind of one of the examples my friend sent me recently. So yeah, no, scary movies and everything are awesome. So that's one recently that I was just like, damn, that was actually kind of crazy. But
Nice.
moving on from that, we got Moncray, who says, is it just me, or does it seem weird that the Bat Family in Gotham War was suddenly okay with crime? I love the concept, but I think someone like Tom King would have handled it better since it sounds like a Tom King story. Thoughts?
I do not agree that it sounds like a Tom King story.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either. I I think the concept is kind of stupid though.
And but also we can always go back to what we always say here on this
Hmm.
podcast is a creative writer can make anything
Yes.
creative and
Yeah.
make it be good. So I
Hmm.
think if you gave the outline to Tom King, I think Tom King could make it into something. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
what we got of Gotham War. Um and the idea of like them suddenly being okay with crime was
Hmm.
the most out of character thing for every single person who agreed with Catwoman.
Yeah. So
Um,
everybody but Damien and Batman.
yeah,
Yeah.
essentially. Like, of course, they tried to do the neutral characters of Nightwing,
Hmm.
but then, like, the very next issue, he was on Catwoman's side. Like,
Yeah.
they weren't consistent with any of their writing,
Mm-mm.
which was a big problem for both of us. But, like, this was an event that did not need to be written at all.
Yeah. It was also the one event that we didn't get a Nightwing book out of, which was
No, yeah,
stupid.
yeah.
Like, out of all the shit he's doing, Tom Taylor could have wrote his perspective on this.
Yeah, and but like the thing with me is if you go and write or if you read all the way up to whenever right before Gotham War
Hmm.
and then read the very next issue of Batman after Gotham War, I can almost guarantee you that it will feel like nothing has changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
You have Batman going after Joker, and he talked to Riddler a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just it doesn't help, man, when we cover that article about like how Howard thinks people should be when reading comics.
Hmm.
Like, oh yeah, stuff happens between the panels. Not like you basically said they fucked between panels and they barely even look like they were touching each other. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy to think that. And so does Zdarsky think the same way? Like, I don't know, man. And I think that's kind of where I appreciate writers like Tom King that will do a 9 panel grid to show you how little things change in between panels, you know? And so, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just, I think the concept was kind of dumb. They were fighting for the dumbest reason, in my opinion. But I mean, that's kind of been the MO of this Bat Cat situation right now
Hmm.
because she thinks Batman was judging her for killing when she killed to save him. But like, I don't know. And that was that whole, but it's because she also loves another guy. Like, it's just, it's been stupid for a
Hmm.
really long time. And so I think the concept was just dumb. And now we got, I mean, I'm continuing the conspiracy theory that Zdarsky is a Marvel spy to destroy DC.
I
They're like,
mean,
look,
Howard could be the exact same thing because she was also
yeah.
at Marvel, so
I mean, they could be like, look, we got a
but also it
crazy
kind of it kind
situation
of
for
just tells me like how like it's been a while since I've opened a Marvel comic.
yeah.
Right now I know that they are planning some really crazy things with bringing in another Ultimate Universe, and I'm really excited about that. Seeing a Ultimate Spider-Man again like really excites me, but
Mhm.
like the idea that Bendis, Zdarsky, and Teeny Howard come over to DC and they're writing the way they do. Kelly
Mhm.
Sue DeConnick, I don't know where she is. She
Yeah.
was writing Aquaman. She wrote that Wonder Woman Historia book. and then she just disappeared off the face of the earth.
I see her on Twitter telling people to go watch Marvels. That's where I see her.
I saw one post with her like that, but
Mhm.
I have not seen any book with her attached to it.
Yeah.
And I actually liked some of her Aquaman, but like
Mhm.
these writers, like how bad is Marvel's like head editor's room or
Mhm.
whatever to get them to be like, hey, you know, this is what's up to par, but we're just not going to pay you as well as you want to. So go somewhere else. And then they come to DC and they're like, hey, this is our best stuff. And we're like, hey, I guess you can write for DC. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's something there that I think we're all missing.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think DC has editors, in my opinion. But yeah, so I don't know. I just thought it was a bad concept, Moncre. Moving on to Jason Todd. I remember you saying something about not liking Batman 2004 style. And here's what I got to say about it. It was weird for me at first, but it grows on you. It adds character. Many of the villains have a twist to them that make them unique to their Batman the animated series counterparts. It is not trying to be Batman the animated series, and it takes liberties in some very fun concepts sometimes. Hope that makes you want to watch. So this was in regards to a question from last week saying that, you know, I forgot what it was. I think the question was something about like what content would pop if
Yeah,
we
so they were talking about how like I should watch Gotham and you should watch the Batman 2004 animated
yeah.
series. Um and I agree to a point with all of these.
Mhm.
I've said that like I didn't grow up watching the animated series. I only
Mhm.
grabbed like every once in a while a VHS with a couple episodes. My show was the Justice League Unlimited, and Superman the animated series. So I
Yeah.
didn't religiously watch the animated series until, of course, COVID, when I had nothing to watch, and I watched the entire thing.
Mhm.
So Batman 2004, I watched from when it first aired until it ended. So this is my Batman show. I
Yeah.
love this show. Uh, but
Yeah.
I really still do think that you should give it a try.
No, I mean, this is the one that did vampires, right? Or Dracula, right? Same style.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. I just think the Joker looks stupid, you know, but he looked cool in Dracula because he was a vampire, like Jokerized.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not like it's not that I hate the show or anything like that. Like I think I would probably be able to watch it. I just don't like the art style. And I think the art style, just like in comics, can be a big reason why people don't do things.
Hmm.
Um, Again, I've said it a million times, and it's not even you could probably have the best art style and I still wouldn't do it. One Piece. I'm not going to watch One Piece unless I have a super hot girlfriend that wants to watch it. It's the only way I'm going to do it. But I will not watch. I just don't think any show, anything should take 1,000 chapters to tell a story. I just don't think that is good storytelling.
Wild, dude.
No matter how much you say it's the greatest story ever told. No, it's not. It's the longest story ever told, it feels like. Like, I feel like Oda's like, a lot of people talk about this thing called the Bible. I want to try to outdo that.
Well,
Like,
he has said that like he still has years worth of stories.
it's crazy. It's insane.
Years worth. I'm like,
Like,
how?
I understand not wanting to let go of your property, but he should have found that fucking apple or whatever the fuck he's finding by now. Like, you know, the
Yeah.
One Piece, whatever the hell it is, he should have found it by now. And then you tell other stories. Like you tell other stories in that universe. Because once he finds it, then what? I want to know what happened now that he found it. What is the
The
thing?
One Piece is the friends we made along the way. You know.
That's like the joke, right? Everybody says that shit. Because here's the thing: you go that long, you risk the amount of fucking up the ending.
That's the biggest thing for me.
You know?
Is like, can you literally land that ending?
Yeah.
Can you
Because if he
do it?
doesn't, because here's the thing: this is the one thing anime fans will always do. If the ending fucking blows, they will say the whole thing is trash.
Dude, I I've only seen, I think, the first 2 seasons of Attack on Titan.
Mhm.
I've only read like the first 5 chapters of Attack on Titan. I think the entire final fucking season has been spoiled for me because people are
Really?
just drooling about how good that ending was.
I dodged everything. I don't know how. I dodged every big spoiler you could think of for that series.
Did you binge that like that night?
I watched it the night it came out, yes.
Okay.
Because I knew it was going to get spoiled for me. Like, I just knew it, and I was like, I can't take the risk. I have to. And so, like, it was like 11 o'clock. I was like, damn, this is an hour and a half episode. So I was like, I need to watch it now. So I just fucking went and lay down, and I was like, I turned it on, and like, it was fucking awesome. Like, it was great. And like, I'm glad, man, because coming from comics, so many landings get fucking missed, you know, so many. And it's just like, some people complain that they don't like the ending to it, but, and this is what I said on Twitter for it. It wasn't the ending I wanted. It was the ending I needed. And there's a huge difference there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's where I'll leave it. That's all I'm going to say. Like, because I think it's 10 years old, I think, is the 10-year-long series.
Yeah.
So, like, you get attached to certain characters. You want certain characters to end up in certain places, right? And, like, you're just not going to always get that. And I think I like that because it's life. You're not always going to get the perfect ending.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to anime or just shows in general, people want everybody to have a happy ending. It's like, no, it's not real. Like, that's just not, you know. So I respect creators that are willing to give me a sad ending or a morbid ending or not the ending I want.
Yeah.
So, I kind of appreciate it. But yeah, I think it was fucking awesome though. So yeah, I mean, again, I said on the last podcast, if we ever start a Patreon or something, that might be like some funny bonus content, you know. So we'll see. Because Gotham, I think Gotham is good for the first 3 seasons, and those last 2 seasons are dog shit. But yeah, moving on to Eduardo de la Cruz, finally going out with someone who also genuinely likes Batman and other nerd stuff, etc. Where should I go for the first date and not mess this up so I'd be the one who wins? I love the consistency here.
The full circle there. I love it. I love it.
I don't know, man. So here's the thing that I always tell people. Well, first of all, every woman's different. Or man, I don't know. Did they say girl? They didn't say. They said someone. So man, women, every person is different. I'll say that. So like, the cliche thing is go to a nice place to eat. And then if you're going to go to a, restaurant or not restaurant, like a movie or something after, make sure you buy the snacks or whatever. Like, first of all, you got to know who you're going with. Like that. That's the first thing. Cause they might hate fancy restaurants. So, kind of figure out that vibe. I always think a good first date is a fun activity. Like maybe go bowling or something, or like something cool, nothing too intense, but like, or, like a nice coffee date or something. Like you don't need to go hard on the first date.
Yeah, for sure. And I have to be careful with what I say because my wife is in earshot of what I'm about to say. Yeah. But like, honestly, I think with him saying finally being able to be someone who genuinely likes Batman, like I would think that the first date needs to be like getting to know each other a little bit more.
For sure.
Like the coffee date. Like you're able to talk, you're able to learn more. My biggest mistake whenever going on first dates or whatever was let's go see a movie. I'm not learning anything about this individual. I'm just trying to entertain myself, and like that's a little selfish. So,
but that was the joke, or not the joke. That was the thing to do, right? It was like we go watch a movie, we're together, quote unquote, and then you talk afterwards. It was usually went to like a pizza place or something after.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like so the movie was the activity. You know what I mean? And then you usually got food or something after. So like where I used to live, there used to be a movie theater that I forgot what it was called, like the Plaza or something back then. It got bought out by the movie theater we go to now. Which, by the way, I'm curious on what theaters you're gonna have in your area.
Right now, the best choices I have is either Regal, which have it. Dude, it's so cool. I went to go see the Marvels there, by the way. They have a the one thing that sucks is that it has to be a combo. You can't just buy the cup or the popcorn bin. It has to be both. But the cups come with a lid where you put the straw in. But at the very center of the lid, there's like a little cylinder thing. And they give you a little toy topper to pop into your cup. and
Oh, cool.
it's themed as the characters that are in the movie. So
Oh,
like if I go see a Spider-Man one later in the year
yeah.
or next few years or whatever, they'll give me a Spider-Man topper. I got a Miss
Okay.
Marvel, a Kamala Khan topper for this cup. If they
Hmm.
come out with an Aquaman one, I'll probably get an Aquaman or a Black Manta topper. And you
Yeah,
get to choose out of like 3 different characters.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, where I was growing up, it was the theater at the time was called like Century Plaza or something like that, and there was a CC's Pizza right next to it. So that was the date. Like you would go to the movie theater, and then right after everybody would go to CC's Pizza
Okay.
after, and then you kind of chat and shoot the shit there and stuff. Now, so or you hung out behind the movie theater because that was the cool thing to do too. Um, so like, yeah, that was the first dates back in the day. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like, you definitely want to get to know the person. So I would say keep it simple. Don't try to go crazy. And if she demands the craziness, maybe get out of there. If she demands like, I want to go to a 5-star restaurant, be like, well, I'm not Batman. I just like them. Like, chill. Let's see. Alexis Barrera says, I want to know if you and Clay have slash are planning to cover these comics I was interested in starting: Batman Outer World, Harley Quinn Black, White, and Redder, Poison Ivy, Detective Comics, Batman and Robin. Well, we're covering 2 of those books today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Harley Quinn Black, White, and Redder just hasn't been out in a while.
Yeah.
But we have covered that in the past. And then Batman Outworld is the Jason Aaron book that is coming out soon.
It's in the backup. It's a backup book to one of the books we covered today.
Like
Yeah.
the
It's like
start
a
of it?
preview. Yeah.
Oh, a preview.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I thought that was like a full series that is coming out.
Yeah.
Or at least a mini series. But we will be covering it. I will say I'm going to be very hesitant on what to expect in that book.
Yeah.
Jason Aaron is coming off of his very poorly written, very stretched out Avengers multiversal story. And I think that's just what Marvel wanted him for, because he wrote Thor for like 12 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, he's the long form storyteller. So this is what he's going to do for Avengers. And it just did not turn out the way I wanted it to. So him going and doing a space odyssey for Batman feels a little off. But if it ends up being good, then it ends up being good, So
Yeah.
we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, at the end of the previews, though, I don't know if you switched through it, and it's not really. I guess it's not a spoiler. I mean, it's in the previews, but it like he gets saved by a Thanagarian, basically Starfire people. But she looks all like cyborged out, kind of too. So I don't know if she's like half or something, but yeah, kind of crazy. I'm just like, all right, we'll see how this goes. But he's also just in a bat suit. And I'm like, why are you just in a bat suit in space? Like, I don't know what this whole idea of is. Batman can just survive in space now and not have to have equipment. Like, I don't understand that shit.
Like it's for one thing, like it's okay if like out there in the DC cosmos, there's like 1 or 2 planets with breathable atmospheres.
Yeah.
But don't make it every single planet.
Yeah.
Like we know that's unrealistic. And we want to get wacky when we want to get crazy. But when Batman is breathing in space, we don't want that crazy.
Yeah. Or go the Doctor Who route and magic force field that has oxygen in it. You know?
As long as you explain it, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, for sure. And that's just kind of how comics is. But yeah, out of all of those, I would say, look, Detective Comics, if you like the old school gothic type of Batman that's going to be like long-winded stories, I would definitely go with Detective Comics. We're covering one today, which is Catwoman comes in. Thought it was a good read, but I also think Ram V just writes Catwoman really well. But like, the Detective Comics doesn't offer me anything that was intriguing. Like, it was new characters, and if it was old characters that I just don't know about, no, they're not intriguing. And like, it's just random stuff I didn't care about. The premise was interesting because it was going to be like this opera of Batman, but it hasn't been anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, I would have preferred it to be more soap opera-y, to be honest. Like,
Mhm.
make it a little bit more dramatic, but I don't know. So it's kind of all over the place. Poison Ivy, I've actually heard good things about Poison. Well, also, I don't know if Alexis is talking about the current Poison Ivy or like pre Poison Ivy's from like, last year or two. But
I think he's talking about the current Poison Ivy.
okay. The current Poison Ivies, I would just say, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's still going. I think that one's pretty good. I don't know. Can't say I've read Poison Ivy, so I'll skim Poison Ivy here and there, but not all the time. But Black, White, and Redder, I think, is fantastic. So,
Yeah, it's very fun.
Batman Robin sucks. So,
We'll talk more about
yeah,
it later today.
yeah. Moving on to Clay, who says, "What would be the best location to have a badass? To have a badass Batman fight in a live action like BVS warehouse scene, a supermarket, a concert, an office space, a construction site?" I would say none of these.
Really?
I want to see, and I don't think we've seen this. I want to see Batman fight on a fucking top of a train. Why have we not seen that in live action?
We haven't seen that in live action.
Yeah. I want to see him fighting on top of a train.
I think that would be really cool. I think the on top of vehicles is just a really cool concept. Like the flowing of the cape would be really, really fun. And
I
like
want him going
just,
in and out of the cart, like they
yeah,
jump into it and they fight in there and they jump out of it. Like,
yeah, for sure. I think that would be really, really fun. Out of these though, the concert, I think we kind of got a little bit of that in the club scene of the Batman. You
yeah.
see like the strobe lights and everything, and kind of got that vibe.
Mhm.
I think those are cool. I think you can play a lot with like the strobe light and the way the punch and pow and all of these different things can play out. I think that would be really, really fun. But I also like the idea of a supermarket, like a fight, just like going from the city of Gotham, the streets
Mhm.
of Gotham, and then ending in a supermarket. And now Batman has to be aware of all of these citizens that are in the supermarket and has to
Mhm.
also protect them. I think that would be fun.
I can't take the supermarket seriously just because I saw it happen in WWF at the time, with Stone Cold versus Booker T. And he ends up
Oh,
beating his ass, and he ends up putting him on the conveyor belt, and he's all like, "Price check on dumbass," and then he like knocks him
yeah, I
out.
remember.
Like,
Well, like the
so
very like, of course, with it being like, I don't know if it has to be as serious as BVS, but like if we're
yeah.
saying, hey, this will be in the DCU, like I can almost guarantee that the villain, if it's the Joker,
Hmm.
Batman's getting hit with the large length sausage. Like,
Yeah, for sure. I also think if we're not taking it super serious, if they fight in an office space, you fight in the office show. So, you know what I mean? Like, you break through the walls and it's just all of
well,
them doing their job.
did you know that The Office, that show,
Mhm.
is actually in Bloodhaven? We
Really?
I think we talked about it.
I don't. Oh,
In
because it
the
wasn't there like a Dunder Mifflin?
POV, no, in
Yeah.
the POV issue,
Uh-huh.
they crash into a building, and every single panel that shows them running through that building, you see every single character of Dunder Mifflin, of
Oh,
the
I guess
employees.
I didn't pay attention to that one then. I think that
Yeah.
one was so fast too. That was such a fast read, if I remember correctly. That's probably why I didn't pay attention to it. But
But
yeah, I
yeah, if
think
you go back
BVS.
and look at that, it's there's every single character in there.
Well, because like I'm one of those people that like I'm not in love with The Office. Like, granted, I haven't seen every single episode, but I know people are
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god." I'm more of a Friends person.
Yeah.
But like I just think that would be funny because I have seen some of the episodes that are fucking hilarious to me are the CPR episode where he puts the doll's face on his face, and the fire alarm one when people are
Yeah.
falling through the fucking
And
ceiling and
freaking
stuff.
out
So
and
like,
everything.
yeah, I think that would be hilarious. Like Batman's fighting there and everybody's freaking out.
Dude,
Michael's trying to get his autograph or something.
you talk about Friends. Literally before we started recording today, I was scrolling through Twitter, There is out there, they did AI photos of all of the Friends characters and their grown-up children.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, I bet. I, obviously this happened while we weren't on the podcast at all, but like the Matthew Perry passing sucked, which was really unfortunate because I always thought, and like maybe it was never going to happen, but I was always hoping that there would be a show because I thought it'd be perfect. Old Friends, like when they're like really old. I'm talking about like Golden Girls old, but like
That would
all
be
6 of them.
amazing.
Like, I was hoping because I was like, all right. I mean, they're all still, Jennifer Aniston's still killing it, like doing movies and shows or whatever. And so, like, I thought, like, dude, when they're like maybe in their 50s or 60s, like, just bring them all back, call it Old Friends. And it's them trying to live in New York, but fucking old. And they're just like, oh, it's just too
in
much,
the modern age. That would be great.
Like, their kids are like, kind of like older, like, but now it's never going to happen, which sucks. So like, it's unfortunate, and maybe it's for the best. But I just think the title "Old Friends" just sounds perfect. So that would have been really cool. But R.I.P. Matthew Perry. I do think he probably, I don't know. I like all of those characters, but I think every once in a while I catch myself doing Chandler mannerisms, and he's probably one of my favorites. So it just sucks. Moving on to the final. If I had to answer from this, though, I think Supermarket, you make a good case for that. I think it'd be interesting. Construction Site's been done a million times. Office Space, kind of generic, but yeah, Supermarket would probably be the most interesting. But Nathan says, if DC started giving more side characters full series like Penguin, Riddler, Poison Ivy, which all of them have had their own series before, just going to throw that out there. Oh, wait, that's what they're saying, like those. Okay, never mind. Who would you like to see get one? Alfred Volume 1. Alfred's had his own series before. Gordon Volume 1. He kind of just had it in a Joker.
In a Joker book, yeah.
Ace the Bat Hound. Mr. Freeze Volume 1. By the way, you guys, are you guys going to cover Batman City of Madness? We did.
We did, but you did not read it.
Oh, I forgot about it. Yeah,
you forgot about it. So I did a really quick review of that first issue.
Yeah.
Issue 2 is coming out pretty soon, but we will be covering it. I think it has an interesting concept, and so we will be covering it.
Yeah.
As far as these 4 choices, Alfred has already had his series. Jim Gordon has had his series. Ace the Bat Hound kind of had a series inside of that anthology book, Urban Legends. There was like freaking almost 10 issues with an Ace the Bat Hound story.
Yeah.
It was so crazy how they were able to like really stretch that out. Mr. Freeze.
I don't want it.
I kind of want it, but I kind of don't want it. Because then you have to solidify right now which version of Mr. Freeze that you're going with.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think just because of like the shock factor and probably the sales, they would probably go with Snyder's version of Mr. Freeze.
Oh, worst version. Well, I don't want to say worst version. Bad version, in my opinion. But let's not forget we had the Tomasi Mr. Freeze, which
I love Tomasi, but that was not great.
Pretty awful. His wife turned into Mrs. Freeze, and
which that has not gone anywhere, by the way.
No,
like
I don't
Mr. Freeze is supposed to be supposed to be.
Yeah.
Now I think it's been completely retconned, but from the ending of that story, Mr. Freeze was supposed to be just stuck in the Batcave.
Yeah. Because he cannot survive in the natural settings or whatever. But like he couldn't be frozen either, which was weird. Like, I don't know. It was just really stupid. I don't know what Tomasi was like. I question at times, like, what is the writer's mindset? Because I think, and granted, you can't always think from the perspective of like, is this going to piss people off? Because then you'll never really write anything. You're going to have to take risks to make good stories. But there's just some things when you just have to know that's not a good idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that was one of them. Same thing with Snyder trying to retcon. Everybody knows Mr. Freeze has probably the best origin story for a villain.
Yeah.
You know, it's heartfelt, and it's one of those things where you're like, do I really hate Mr. Freeze, or is he a guy that just got a bad hand? You know what I mean? And I think when you can make people morally question if somebody's a villain or not, we know Mr. Freeze is a villain, but it's like, but he's kind of doing villainous stuff for a good reason. You know what I mean? He's like trying to save somebody. So it makes you question things, but for the most part, I will say, I kind of said I don't need villain books. Tom King is kind of proving me wrong though, because Penguin has been good so far.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess I don't have no problem standing corrected. But out of all of those, if you were gonna give me, like, Alfred's had his book, but if you're gonna actually give me like Alfred through the years of going through the military and doing like the James Bondy shit, and like I'm talking about, I get one story of one mission, I would be into it. But for the most part, I don't really care for many of those. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that is all we got for comments, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be moving on to reviews, and we have 6 books this week. Some better than others, and some starting that are pretty interesting. But let's knock out Danger Street first, which is the honorable Tom King mention that we do every time. We always cover Tom King books here. I skimmed this because I was pressed for time, and I was just like, let me just go through it. But I kind of got the gist of what's happening here anyways. I've said this a million times. Danger Street is a book I'm just going to buy and just read it in one sitting. Because I just need it. This is the first time with the Tom King book that I'm like, I'm just going to wait for it to be over.
And I think the last issue and this issue definitely need to be read at like all in one.
Yeah.
To really get a full grip on what's going on right now. But I read through this fairly quickly as well. And honestly, not saying that it's like poorly written or anything, but I think it's very well drawn to where I can literally just scroll through this whole thing and be like, oh shit, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Like I get what is happening without the words, which I think is in itself really, really cool. But yeah, a lot of things happen here. Lady Cop has some blood on her hands, and I don't know if I necessarily, again, Tom King can definitely pull a fast one on his last issues and not do what we expect to happen. But like, I don't know if I want a happy ending to this story.
Yeah, because what ends up happening is Lady Cop kills 2 of the heroes. Well, do we consider Creeper a hero?
He is like a vigilante.
Yeah. So Creeper gets shot because he'd be creeping on Lady Cop.
Very much so.
Yeah. So she takes him down. I think fair kill. He's being a creeper. It's in his name. But then Homeboy, who's been trying to get redemption this whole series,
Warlord,
Warlord shows up. He's like, "What's going on in here?" He's got a gun, and Lady Cop, being a cop, she's like, "Oh, shoot first, ask questions later, bitch." And she shoots him, and he goes down, and there's 2 dead people in her kitchen. Hey, let's be real. It's what happens, okay?
Oh shit.
And like they're all dead in the kitchen. And then she just starts having a conversation with everybody else. Like,
well, she has a conversation with Non-Fat, and she's like, "Tell me everything."
Yeah.
And like, it's so funny because in one panel, it starts from the very beginning of this entire series, and the very next panel is literally what just happened. And he's like, and that's the whole fucking story.
Yeah.
From the beginning to the end. And she's like, shit.
I saw that kind of being memed on Twitter, like that panel.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole story with something else. So I think that's pretty interesting. But yeah, like, so, I know there's a lot going on because we still got a couple, or like one of the green suit kids is still captured by the creature people. And so they're like fighting each other on a plane, and they're talking about like the planet or whatever exploding.
So again, and this is more so because like totally agree that like
Mhm.
this needs to be read in a full sitting so you can comprehend what the hell's going on. But you have to remember these mutated individuals are the children in the flashback that didn't get immortality like these
Mhm.
other kids did. So, uh, in a way that they got immortality because they never developed, they just got mutated. So they kind of still have the mind of children, whereas these kids who got immortality were able to grow intellectually.
Yeah.
Um, and so, like these kids, these mutated kids, are kind of being stupid and arguing with each other and everything else, while this kid is like, "Don't mess with my sword! Like, I paid. Like, you don't know what I had to go through to get that thing." And they're like knocking each other's arms off because they can freaking regrow and everything.
Yeah.
But like this whole thing that like Lady Cop just all of a sudden is like, okay, clearly I was in the wrong. Like, we need to go get the helmet. Like, you just told me that this thing can bring people back to life, and I have two dead superheroes in my freaking kitchen. Like,
Mhm.
hell yeah, I'm gonna try this thing out.
Yeah.
So when I say I don't want a happy ending, like I don't know if I want everybody to come back to life. Like I think that's a little bit of a cop out when it comes to Tom King stories.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tom King's also the person that will leave people dead, though. So we can't
Yeah.
say all his stories are cop outs like that.
No.
Alfred.
I'm saying it would be a cop out
Oh,
for Tom
because yeah, okay,
because he's usually not like that.
yeah, I agree. Okay, that makes sense. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing: Darkseid hasn't come to the world yet.
Yeah, no, he hasn't.
So, like, is he gonna show up and be like, no, 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 no? I was like, somebody's got to die, or whatever. We'll see. Is Lady Cop gonna become Doctor Fate? Like,
Ooh, that would be interesting.
that would be kind of crazy because cop fate cop. I don't know if they're gonna do that, but I love that she still sticks up with the like "don't call me Lady Cop" thing, which is very interesting. It was a good way of like a smart way of Tom King playing off that name, right? Because that name is very stupid for the time. Like,
Hmm.
oh, a lady cop, what the fuck? Like, that's kind of how it was kind of written.
Yeah.
But she's saying like it's a nickname for her, and she's like, I fucking hate that nickname. Don't call me that. And so like I kind of like that.
No,
Um,
I love how like I feel like the word execution in that scene, like
mhm.
immediately after killing Creeper and Warlord, and
Yeah,
Non-Fat sees her just on the floor with a gun. She's like, "Do not call me that. It
yeah,
pisses me off." And like he's just seeing this woman with a gun with two dead people. He's like, "Oh shit, yeah, I'm not calling you that anymore."
yeah, yeah. And it also blows my mind. Granted, this is a Tom King book, but like how Darkseid has taken off. You
Dude,
know?
yes, with Orion wearing the
Yeah,
Dark Side is shirt. Yeah.
yeah. But like we've seen it in other media,
Hmm.
and it's just like you like there are writers that just wish for that, and I feel like Tom King has done that so many times. Hell yeah is huge
Yeah.
with Kite Man, and so like it is kind of like blow my mind that he's been able to take the most simple shit and like have it happen. I guarantee you, we're gonna have Darkseid eating from a tray plate in the DCU.
In the DCU,
Yeah, he's
I
gonna
think so.
eat a carrot or something from a thing. So like that's and people are gonna be like, that's fucking stupid, and be like, you don't read comics. like, you know. So it'd be very interesting.
But
But yeah, we do
okay, so here's the question though. Do you think we will see the Dark Side is shirt first or Dark Side eating the carrot first?
Darkseid is hands down. Like that's gonna be somebody. It's gonna be like just a random hipster kid in a coffee shop that gets like blown up or something. Like it's gonna be something like that.
I can see that. Yeah.
You know, because again, we live in a world that has superheroes, but we're just finding out about Superman. So
Yeah.
like, what else is going to be the case? It'll be very interesting. I could, you know what, I could actually see one of the Green Lanterns wearing Darkseid because they would probably know about Darkseid.
That's true.
So we'll see. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. She goes and gets the helmet and she knocks the fuck out of that poor cop. that poor cop's been getting his ass beat this whole series. You know, and it's just like it's been rough for that guy. So, but yeah, that's Danger Street. We have one more to go. And then, like I said, I'm waiting to pick this up in hardcover. I do that with the majority of Tom King's books, and I'll sit down and just read this from cover to cover. But going on from that, let's go to another book that we don't cover here. We've talked about this earlier, which is Detective Comics. The reason why we're covering this one is because it's Ram V writing Catwoman. And we can't sit here and tell you everything that's going on. We can tell you what shows in this book, and that is Batman is about to be hanged by the villains that have been in this series the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's also because he's got like a demon in him, or he's got some kind of possessed, form or whatever. We're not reading the story, so we don't know. But there's something inside Batman that they want out, and they think they can get it by killing him. So they're going to publicly hang him, which I think is kind of crazy. It kind of Gotham-y, which I think is kind of cool. Like, oh shit, they're going to execute Batman in front of Gotham. Okay, interesting. And so I think that's really cool. But now we need the best person to build a heist to save Batman. Who better than the heist queen herself, Catwoman? And she's putting a team together. It's Gordon. It's freaking Cheshire. It's what's the one in green? Or is Cheshire? Oh, Eco's there. I might be getting Eco and Cheshire confused. And so like there's a whole team together. Grundy might be a part of the team, which will be pretty interesting. And then Mr. Freeze and Oracle are there too. And so like it's just and it's crazy because just in this one issue, Clay, I'm like, oh, I believe this team. Like this team makes sense. But then I read something like Birds of Prey that has that wacky ass team. And I'm just like, that one's a little bit harder for me to buy for whatever reason. This one makes sense because they're all in Gotham, I guess.
Yeah.
Where the other ones like seem so weird.
I will say though, there is a panel in here that Gordon is yelling at Selena.
Yeah.
And he has his hands like this, like kind of just like next to his head, like kind of just like waving his hands.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was AI generated or not, but his hands are all like melded together. And I think he technically only has 4 fingers on both hands. It's weird.
Yeah, it looks like this is Clayface and he's like breaking apart. Like, he's not able to hold his Gordon form. And it was kind of, here's the thing, like the art fits with the tone of the book.
Yes.
But and so I think that works. But I think this art in any other kind of Batman story that's not very gothic would be terrible.
Yeah.
So it's you know what this is? This is what's his face in those 3 issues of Batcat.
Oh yeah.
That's what it is. It just his art works for certain stories. It doesn't work for Batcat. And same thing here. I think this works for this story, not anything else. So Catwoman, like they're talking about this plan and like, she's introducing everybody. Gordon is not having it that Freeze is on this team. He's like, he's going to betray us. She's like, that's what everybody says about me. Like, look, if we're going to save Batman, we got to work with what we got. And he was like, that's half the plan. And he's like, where are you going? She's like, I'm going to go get the other half of the plan. And so we see Catwoman, going through the rooftops or whatever. And dude, just in these couple of pages, Clay, few panels, I feel more love between Catwoman and Batman than in all of Howard and Zdarsky's run.
Dude, I really love these pages. It has the references to Tom King's like actual like wedding like stories, rooftops and all of that stuff. I love that. Like this even has like a little bit of a what's his name? The artist that was on that freaking issue. For was the issuers or the covers of Batman at that time?
I don't know what series you're talking about, so it's kind of
of Tom King's series
of Batcat or just Batman in general.
Batman.
Oh, you talking about like Lee Weeks?
Yes, like the where it has like that wolf or whatever, or possibly bat. I'm assuming that is like trying to eat Selena and Bruce. Like it has Lee Weeks like feel to it. and which is like somewhat of a reference to King's story to begin with, that really brought them to almost getting married in the first place. So I really, really dug this. Like it really fit very well for this one small moment. Like I believed this more than the ending of Gotham Wars, which was supposed to be like the unspoken love of
Yeah.
Bruce and Selena.
Yeah.
This was
100%.
better written.
Yeah. Also, but since Howard let us know in the Magic, they totally fucked here. Because, you know, that's
100%.
Yeah. Like maybe like 5 times. So like pretty crazy stuff. But yeah, so Batman is in a dungeon. That's who Catwoman went to go save. She went to tell him because he is possessed or whatever. But in the whole little love story that we're getting, she's like, I know who you are, essentially. Like you're I know who you are. We're gonna save you, and you need to know that. And then she disappears, and like the villains of the story are like, it was that damn Catwoman. We saw her because one of the guys has the power to, I guess, see from Batman's perspective, or whatever this creature is,
It's basic.
or whatever.
The way that I read it was basically they can like get little pieces of Batman's thoughts. And so Batman, during the time that he was in front of Catwoman, thought about her, and they're like, "Oh, she's in there. She's in there."
Yeah. So so you would think it ends there. She escapes. She's telling him like, we're gonna come for you, because I think they said he's gonna die in 3 days, right? So they're planning out this whole heist in 3 days. And she's going through the alleyways of Gotham. Again, I think this art style looks great for what's happening in the story. And there's all these dead bodies, and she sees a guy running down the fucking alley on fire, and she's all like, that's who I'm looking for, you know? She's like, I thought I might talk to you. And he's like, get away from you, harlot. Like, I'm looking for the Dark Knight. You know, he's not anywhere around. And we find out that it's Azrael. And now, granted, I think every writer, artist, people that have grown up have 2 different versions of Azrael. And I think a lot of people love to go back to the very like knightish type of like, get out of here, you freaking, you know, he said harlot and talks like that. I really love the new style of Azrael, though, that Dan Waters is writing. Still kind of had that same kind of vibe, but a little bit more modernized.
It's more modernized, but like instead of the it's a little bit more what's the right phrasing for it?
Easier to understand.
Religious spoken.
Yes,
like very talking about angels and demons and a lot of this like religious talk.
Yeah.
And I do love that here. And it does mix very well with the idea of like the gothic scene that, of course, Ram V is putting into this detective comic.
Yeah.
So it fits very well. I can't remember if this technically like breaks continuity for where Jean Paul is right now. Because the last thing we saw from the Dan Waters story was that he was working with
Bane's daughter. And
no,
not John Paul Valley. What's his name?
Father Valley.
Father Valley and Bane's daughter, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that's right. And Bane's daughter. That's right.
It was going to be all 3 of them to go after everybody or whatever.
Yeah.
But what's her name? Is it just Bane's daughter?
I can't remember off the top of my head. Let me look at it real quick.
But yeah, so we have Azrael. We don't know if this breaks continuity, but let's be real, ladies and gentlemen. What is continuity anymore at DC? You know, especially with
Vengeance.
Batman. Oh yeah, Vengeance. She definitely saw the Batman. But yeah, like I thought this was kind of cool. You know, here's the thing, and I think this is why we know Ram V is a good writer. Is this took 1 issue, and I'm already interested in this book going forward. But it took Catwoman to get me interested. So I will say that Ram V can write the fuck out of Catwoman. Bring him back, please.
Yeah.
Like, dude, give me 100 issues of Ram V on Catwoman. Like, I'm down. You know what I mean?
But what if he makes it a gothic story?
It's still good, though. This is a gothic story still. Like, I think he just knows the character, you know? Because in his series, we got very little Batman. And I think it's easy to write very little Batman. It's really hard to write a lot of Batman. and very
Yeah,
few people know how to do that, you know? And I think
that's
that's
true.
why there's a lot of people that probably do really well when it comes to like 8 pages of Batman. An 8-page Batman story, you could probably make something really epic.
Yeah.
But 24 pages, you're just like, oh, you know? So, I mean, because, dude, I think one day, and maybe if we ever get to a Patreon or members on YouTube, we got to do like from the start of the show to now the worst Batman stories we've read.
Yeah.
Because like, remember that one series? Was it George Ellis, or somebody that was like Batman was fighting some guy that lives under the floorboards or some shit? And it was just like action the whole fucking like 11
Oh
issues.
no, that was
I forgot.
Brian
It was like,
Hitch. It was
was it
Brian
Brian Hitch?
Hitch.
I don't remember who it was. Honestly, I don't. Ellis sounded it popped into my head. I don't even know what the fuck that is. If that's a writer.
Well, I know
But
that
like,
Hitch was on art. I don't know who the writer was. Let me actually look.
I
I
just remember
remember
that
that story.
That story was bad. And then remember the Superman's not on planet story. Whatever the fuck that was.
Batman Fortress. Yeah.
Yeah, that was terrible too. We've read a lot of bad Batman over these 5
Yeah.
years. So like that would definitely be an interesting thing, which hey, we're, next month's already December. We're going to be doing our top 10s like we end every year. So,
Oh yeah.
that's going to be that's going to be a little bit harder this year, I feel like. Cuz I'm trying to think of what's been the good Batman. Like it's probably going to be a lot of like
It was the Batman's Grave, and
Oh yeah, there you go.
it was written by Warren Ellis. You're right, Warren Ellis.
Yeah, I think I said Greg Ellis, but Ellis, yeah. Yeah, that story was not good. It was not great. So yeah. Anyways, but yeah, that was Batman Gothic. So if you want to jump on Detective right now, because I know Alexis was asking, and you're a fan of Catwoman, jump on right now.
Yeah.
Literally jump on issue 1077. Because I'm intrigued. I want to see how they save Batman. And maybe it changes from there. But here's the thing. Again, when it comes to continuity, if Detective and Batman are happening at the same time, these are two very different Batman right now.
Yeah.
So there's no way Detective. I think I've said this on the podcast before, and if not, I'll say it again here. I think Detective needs to be separate from the Bat book, but it needs to be like just detective stories throughout Batman's life. And they don't need to be in order. They could be at different times. And so, like, I think that kind of matters.
And
that's what they should do.
I've always said that you just need to bring back the secret society of detectives.
Yeah.
That Snyder wrote in Batman 1000.
Probably the last good Batman thing he wrote.
Yeah.
Because what was the thing that Endgame? Was that what it was called? No. What was the one where he had Joker in his head in the lantern?
That one was, oh shit.
It was like spun out of metal, it felt like, but it was just it was him and Greg Capullo's last thing, I think, before Death Metal. That was not good either. That we saw that ending coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
Like, not great. Did you see that he somebody asked him like he'd ever write Batman again? He's like, of course. He was like, I have a couple of ideas.
So it was Batman Last Night on Earth.
Yeah. So that book had promise, but like it just went down fast. Anyways, moving on from that, let's go to another book that I skimmed very quickly, but kind of got this whole story anyways, was Teen Titans.
So I didn't actually read this one. So you gotta carry this one.
So this one here, I was confused because remember the last issue we ended with B getting all mad about showing her face, but then gets dressed in front of people right there and shows her face to everybody. And it's just like, didn't make any sense. And then it's where the guy was like, kill a Teen Titan. That's how you get in or whatever. And so it's like, they're all captured at the start. I'm like, what the fuck happened? I was like, this makes no sense.
Pretty sure we skipped an issue.
No, I don't think that is because they're like, they go back to, they're recapping everything. Maybe we did skip an issue. I don't know. But Robin recaps the whole thing that happened because we see B getting attacked in this issue. So like B is fighting the red bumblebee guy or the red suit guy. Everybody else is trying to fight. and there's just everybody getting attacked from everywhere, and essentially I believe the whole public saw this happen. You know how like freaking Red Arrow's all like, yeah, we're the Teen Titans, we're the best social media stars. Well, now everybody's laughing at them, and they're like, we look like shit out there, nobody's gonna trust us. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what they get mad about. But we might have skipped an issue, it's very possible. But since I saw B in here, I was like, oh yeah, they just kind of just jumped. Like, this was really weird. Well, basically all the Teen Titans got their asses handed to them, and they were captured, and now they're kind of like, all right, I guess at the start of the book they're captured, but at the very end they're reviewing everything that happened, and they're at each other's throats, and they're like, we can't trust each other, and like somebody's like, oh, you can't even defend yourself, your woman's got to fight for you, like, because like Red Arrow's getting mad at Aqualad, and like they're just all at each other's throats, everybody's fighting, and Robin's like, look, guys, this is on me that we didn't work as a team because I'm the team leader. They're like, who the fuck put you in charge? Like, we don't even trust you. And like, everybody knows their name. Now, here's the thing. I think this page was taken straight out of the show, because Red Arrow is all like, Donna, he starts listing off everybody's name. He's like, but we don't know who you are. You hide behind your mask like Batman does. And so, like, I think that was taken out of the Justice League show. Remember when
Yeah, it was
Wally
Wally.
West and then Batman says everybody's name. So I think it's kind of like that. And at the very end, like, everybody's like, yeah, we don't freaking trust you. And like, all basically that's what they're saying, just because he doesn't want to reveal his identity. And there's like this beautiful silhouette of Robin. He's like, I can't. And there's a shadow of Batman. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. And then he's like, I disagree with that. Not anymore. And he takes his mask off and he's like, I'm Dick Grayson, and I have a plan to beat Haywire and his Terror Titans. Who's with me? And it says part 1 is Blitzkrieg. So he's revealed his, cool. I did think, like, it is kind of cheesy the way he announces himself. Like, yeah, but it's Dick Grayson. Yeah. Like, but and it's Robin too. But I did think, this is the coming of age of Robin, right? He's finally disagreeing with Batman. This is how we know he becomes Nightwing eventually. Yeah. I'm curious to see what Batman's going to think of this. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be some drama there, I'm assuming, but we'll see where it goes. But that was kind of basically what happens with Teen Titans. We might have skipped an issue, but again, like, they're kind of just got their ass beats in front of a bunch of people, and now they kind of got to find a way to beat these Terror Titans and win the public opinion back, essentially.
Yeah.
But I know it's a part of like our everyday lives nowadays, and they kind of got to write into it, but getting kind of tired of superheroes and social media in the books.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I think that, of course, you need something that's going to connect to new readers.
Yeah.
And of course, the younger generation is what they're trying to really latch onto.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's just you showing your age, Juice.
Probably. But I think it's also just like, it seems like a big focal point of a lot of stories nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, they're telling the story through social media. And maybe that's probably just how it is. Like, they're just trying to relate to it. Yeah. But I don't know. I kind of just, I don't really care for it. But again, this is a Teen Titans book, and I guess they would all be on social media anyways, so it makes sense. So yeah, maybe I just am old man juice, but I just feel like a lot of stories have social media nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's just like a big part of it, I don't know. Maybe they're just not using it in an interesting way yet. Like, I could see like a Teen Titan doing something bad and that leaking on the internet. Yeah. And they're trying to deal with it. I'm like, okay, I'm interested in that. Like, that's interesting. Like, oh, they caught him doing something bad. And then knowing DC, you can't have the good guys do bad things, so it would be an imposter. And now they got to find the imposter. And that gets boring, but it is what it is. Moving on to the next book, which is Justice Buster. So this is the manga Batman. Very quick read, but intriguing, because it looks like our future Robin is being watched by a future criminal. Because I think this guy wanted to kill somebody today.
I think so too.
So, yeah, this is pretty interesting. Like I said, very quick read. Batman talks to Gordon in this book, which first time we've seen Gordon?
I think it might have been the first time we've seen Gordon.
Because I've always thought Joker was Gordon.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
You know?
you're right. Yeah.
So, first time we see Lieutenant Gordon, he says like, "Oh man, I'm still not used to, you just sneaking up on me like that." And he tells him about, he's like, "What about the alligator man?" And he's all like, "Oh, the boys are calling him Killer Croc." I'm like, "Oh, that's the way you get his name right there. Interesting." So, he's kind of talking about, he's like, "Yeah, somebody forgot about him. They used to give him food and they kind of left him down there and he thinks he got abandoned or whatever."
Yeah.
So, kind of hearing that story, Batman does his Batman thing, disappears. And then we cut to the boy who we think is going to be called Robin. I don't think they've said his name yet, or maybe they have.
I think they teased it way hardcore in here, though. At like the last few pages, I think
the Robin part.
Yeah.
No, they tease it. But I don't know if they said his name though, like his actual name.
Oh, true. Yeah.
And so, anyways, he's with this older gentleman, and they're going to like a fancy rancy restaurant. And the kid's like, "Oh, I don't think we belong here." And like, "Oh, he's just like very apprehensive." And the kid, he's like, the old man is all like, "I'm just trying to teach you, or I'm trying to give you like a glimpse of what you used to have. This is what your parents used to do all the time."
His name is Danny.
Okay. Well, here, what's the matter, Danny? Yeah, it's really weird because
wait, hold on. No. No, he's saying, "Hey, Danny." I think Danny is the adult, not him. You're right.
Yeah. Well, I also don't know if Danny is like the creepy old man that starts yelling about the soup. Because like those two things are like, "Oh, what's the matter, Danny?" Yeah, I don't know. It's like really weird progression. But anyways, there's an old man. They're in this fancy restaurant. The guy's like, "Enjoy your food, man. This is like the only time. Like the soup's really good." And then when he just says like the soup's good, you have this old rich guy that's all like, "Where's the chef? The soup is terrible." And he's like all yelling and stuff. And everybody's like, "Yo, be quiet." And then there's like his hot date. She's like, "I bet you bring your wife here all the time. You probably take your wife to better restaurants." And this place sucks.
I saw it. I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. So like, she's all getting mad, and he's like, "I want to see the chef." And like the old man that's with the kid, he's getting like a knife, and he's like, "Oh, I'm ready to put this guy down." He's letting the intrusive thoughts win, because everybody's been around a person like this. He's letting the intrusive thoughts. He's like, "All right, it's GG. I'm going for it." And the kid doesn't know what's happening. And then you just see these like, click clack of shoes showing up. And as the old man's like yelling at somebody, he turns and he's like, and he notices it's somebody. It's a very charming looking man. It's Bruce Wayne. And so they're like, "Bruce Wayne, what are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, well, I wanted to, I love the soup here. I wanted to come have the soup." And they're like, "Oh yeah, I just had the soup. It's delicious. It's the greatest soup of all
I actually
time."
wanted to talk to the chef to give him my greatest compliments.
Yeah. So like it's, he's kind of like bullshitting, and he's like, "You should try some dessert here too." And he's like, "I'll have some right now." And so like everybody changes their tone around Bruce Wayne. The kid sees this and he's like, "Wow." And then he also sees like Bruce's date and he's like, "Wow." And she like winks at him and he's like, "Cool." And then Uncle, who's this other guy, is like, he's just raging mad, but he's raging mad while looking at Bruce Wayne and his date. Yeah. So like, is he going to kill Bruce Wayne's date? And then this is going to be very villainous kind of going on. And then we see, the freaking, Oracle machine or whatever they call it. What is it called? Brother Sky? Is it Brother? Big Brother? Or it's called Robin.
He's called Robin. Yeah.
And then we see the thing called Robin looking through the window. And Uncle is just like, "Let's go home." So foreshadowing there, Uncle's probably going to be a villain. And the kid we'll see what happens. But I'm curious what the connection's gonna be to like how does Robin get connected to the kid so he could be Robin, but the uncle hates Bruce Wayne for whatever reason. Does the uncle have something to do with the Robin system?
I think what's gonna happen here is the AI Robin is going to alert Bruce Wayne, "Hey, this individual that was at this restaurant that you went to earlier tonight, he is going to commit a crime soon. You need to be on watch."
Yeah.
And then something's going to happen where he's going to have to save this child. and that's how he becomes Robin.
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
But we'll find out next time. But let's move on to we're going to save a new book this week for the final book, which is Outsiders, which doesn't have Batman, but has Batwing and Batwoman in it. Very interesting concept. But let's talk about Batman and Robin.
Do we have to?
Yeah, unfortunately, this book doesn't make sense compared to what's happening with Gotham War.
I have no idea. Like, so I love this artist. He is so good in everything else that he has drawn in. But like at one point in this book, Batman tells Robin to go back to school, and it's the dead of night.
Yeah.
I'm so confused by the panel progression, the conversations that are happening. I hate that because this is Williamson, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Joshua Williamson has Bruce and Damian and Robin and Batman say father and son in the front of every fucking sentence.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking tired of it.
It's a lot of people got mad with Tom King having them say Bat and Cat, but that's like pet names, you would say, for them. So it makes a little bit more sense. Granted, they are father and son here, but they're superheroes.
Batman would never say son. He would say Robin.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know how writers fucking forget that.
Yeah.
Like people forget the mask, like the secret identities and everything. Like it's the number one concept of being a superhero. This is Marvel ruined it for everybody.
Well, and that's the thing. Like DC kept freaking secret identities for the longest time. And I think they're the only ones to still have some characters with a secret identity. Whereas Marvel, everybody's just like, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm a superhero.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really annoying. But anyways, I mean, this story is basically, they were trying to save their White Rabbit because the White Rabbit has information on Shush, still stupid character. And, she gets away because she's really fast, like a rabbit. And, the terrible trio has to go after her. Hush, it tries to get away. It was really weird because she was in a jail cell at one point, and then Batman is all like, she's like, I planted a bomb, and if you don't want everybody to die here, you can either interrogate me or go save the bomb. And I'm like, wait, when did she get in a jail cell? Like, I was so confused. But I guess they were already in Blackgate. Like, it was.
I think so.
I was just so confused with what's going on here. Because, yes, I agree with you that the art style makes it look like it's all happening at night. But we remember in issue 2, Damian left school because I said he jumped out of a window with his suit on, which was kind of dumb. And then, and then they're driving their cars. So, yeah, we get into a car chase and they're like, oh, we're going to lose Batman right now. And then they don't know Damian also has his car. So they're able to chase both of the teams. And they're like, you chase the terrible trio and I'll chase, freaking the White Rabbit. And then, they all like take off driving. There's a car chase. Batman saves the White Rabbit. The car explodes. And of course, Shush gets away. Batman's like, tell me your plan. Like, what is she doing with Hush? And she's like, she's not working with Hush. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. And so like, she has different plans. And then, freaking Damian chases down the terrible trio, finds the doctor they're looking for that's like was able to make Batman have bats hate him or whatever that's going on in that story. Yeah. And then fucking the Dark Man Bat returns and he's choking Damian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't fucking get this story at all. Like there is no pages. Like you can see how some pages connect and they're trying to tell a story. Yeah. I don't understand this story at all.
Again, like we're a podcast. I hope we probably have some viewers that are like, I'm glad these guys read the books because I don't know what the fuck's going on. If you don't read the other books, every single Batman book feels like it's taking place at a different point in time when they're all supposed to be connected. And it makes no sense. Detective doesn't look like Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin literally is connected to Gotham War, but they're going on at 2 different paces right now. And then freaking the Bat Book is, getting out of Gotham War already. And then no telling what's happening to Catwoman. She's probably got on her 9 lives already.
Like I'm super like, we've said this before, and you were kind of just like talking about it now, is that like the idea that the Bat family books need to be cohesive. They need to be able, you should be able to jump from one book. You should be able to jump from Batman to Nightwing to freaking Batgirls to Catwoman to Detective Comics and be able to understand references and understand, oh, this is taking place before this, or this is taking place before that. These all feel, and I understand this is the way these writers are trying to do it, but this is a bad type of storytelling in a connective universe. They're all telling a story as if they're in their own universe.
Yeah.
They're in their own timeline. They're in their own continuity.
Yeah.
And I don't think that should ever happen in a connected universe.
It definitely shouldn't. For character universes, for sure. Like the Bat universe. Like in DC, I can understand Superman feeling different than Batman for sure. But
feeling different, yes. But like even still, like Superman can reference something. Like if Batman shows up, or if a Batman character shows up, they can reference something that is going on in the Bat books. Yeah. And you'll be like, okay, this takes place before this, or after this, or during this time.
Yeah.
But when I look at Batman and Robin, this looks and feels like nothing else that I've been reading.
Yeah.
And some people say, that's amazing. I can just enjoy this and read this and do whatever. That's cool and all fine and dandy with you. But like, as somebody who is trying to understand the greater scope of the DC universe and where it stands altogether in a continuity, this does not help whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. Bat, I don't care. I haven't liked Joshua Williamson's writing for a while. And I think the Bat universe is a mess right now. And, I wish, how we always have like a big, like, oh, dawn of DC. I want to have a dawn of Bat book writers. Like it's a whole new sweeping. And we're not changing the characters. We're changing the writers, like all of them.
I would like to see, and I mean, I think it takes a while for publishers to do this. But I said it once before, when freaking Rebirth happened, they did like a whole 3-hour DC panel with like a handful of writers talking about each concept that they're going to do and everything else. I think that needs to happen with every portion of the DC universe, the Superman books, the Batman books, the Green Lantern books. So that way all of those are cohesive. And then you have like a handful of writers or editors, and DC get some fucking editors out there to connect everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. It was kind of crazy, but they definitely need some editors. But let's move on to the last book that was actually interesting to read, and that is, it's just called Outsiders. So usually this was interesting because they usually have to put Batman on this to make it interesting, but they just titled it Outsiders. And it does have Bat characters in it, but not Batman. And I think that's kind of cool. I'm glad that they're going to finally try to do something. And they got 2 really great writers on it as well. This is Langsing and Kelly, which are, Batman Beyond, the Clayface story, all that kind of jazz. So excited to read this. And yeah, so Clay, what did you, I know you said you thought this was really interesting, and there's some interesting things happening in this book. So
yeah, I really, really dug this. Now, I will admit, at the beginning of the book, Batwoman is standing in a rubbled city. I have no idea what this is or where this is taking place, but I'm like, okay, like from the moment her and Luke start talking, I'm like, okay, like I'm putting up what y'all are putting down. I understand the direction we're going. Let's see how this ride goes. And I enjoyed every
piece of that ride.
Mhm.
I really dug this, from the art, from the writing, from the Easter eggs that I'm going to get to near the end of this review and discussion of this book. But I dug it. There's a moment here where like Batwoman throws down some smoke grenades and like
Mhm.
kicks ass. Loved it. I
Yeah.
love those panels.
When I saw it, like, because they look like they're in a war-torn country, you know.
Yeah.
And so like, and she does mention something along the lines of like, I'm here to find out why we're still blowing up, why this city wants to be reeled after the same company just blew it up or something like that. And like
Mhm.
she's trying to get some answers. And Fox is coming in, so this is Luke Fox coming in. He's like, "How do you want to do something different? I notice you're not in Gotham doing that little war that's going on." So they reference it there, and she's like, "That has nothing to do with me." And he's like, "What if you wanted to do something different, like not bat related?" Because she asked, she's like, "Does it have to do with Batman?" Because I don't want in.
Yeah, like specifically, is this a Bruce thing? Is this a
Yeah,
Batman thing?
yeah,
And he's like, no, this is on our own.
yeah.
And this idea that they are going to be archaeologists, in a
Mhm.
sense, I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
as somebody who fell in love with Doctor Who,
Mhm.
specifically watching the library episode first out of every episode that is of Doctor Who, and learning about the archaeologist,
Mhm.
um, that like I love this concept.
Yeah.
Um, and it's weird and it's wacky and it's like dipping into like the sci-fi corners of DC that they don't really show all that too often.
Mhm.
Um, which I'm like, okay, like this whole concept of what we're about to talk about could very well go over people's heads and be like, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
But I think Kelly and Lansing have such a way of writing a story and grasping people with things and even putting small Easter eggs in there that you're just like, I want to know more.
Mhm.
Especially with two characters that we haven't seen
Yeah.
in the DCU for a very long time.
Yeah, yeah. I think these are two characters that I think need more screen time. I've always said I wanted, still will say I want that Batwoman in like a war torn Afghanistan area, like doing something. But yeah, we meet a new character that's gonna be a part of the team. Well, first of all, as they're flying back in what's probably more of a Batwing, looks kind of like the X-Men playing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They're flying back. We get a holographic Lucius, who is the third member of the band, talking about that they're using Lucius money to fund this whole thing.
But also, I want to point out that in these panels, they're talking about starting a family business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we see Lucius. And I think it's fucking hilarious. Jace is nowhere to be found. Tim is nowhere in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Now, not saying that he can't show up, but
Mm-hmm.
calling it a family business and only having Luke and Lucius, like, I think
Yeah.
the writing's on the wall that people did not like Tim.
They do mention Jace in here, though, without saying his name, though.
True.
So, maybe they don't want us to forget 100%, but maybe they're slowly writing him out of DC history. We'll see. I don't know. Because that book's dead. But we meet the fourth member of the band. Because there's like this weird, we're getting the band back together.
Yeah, this whole referencing of a band. Yeah.
And literally called the drummer. And we find out why. I believe this is a brand new character. This character can talk to history. And you don't really understand what that means until later on when you see her drumming on things and she's able to essentially talk to whatever she drums on, which I think is really interesting. So I think that's a vibe I got.
So I just looked it up. The drummer is a part of the Wildstorm universe, which is owned by DC now. Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting. So again, I'm always for bringing other characters into the world of broader DC heroes. We get a white suit Batwoman.
Yeah.
Which
Snowsuit Batwoman is pretty cool.
I don't mind it on her. Hate it when it's on Batman.
Really?
I don't like it because here's why. Kevin Smith and his friend fucked it up. I need to see a good snowsuit Batman drawn by like George Jimenez. Because go back and look at the art for when he did it in Widening Gyre, and then there's the joke between Alfred. He's like, "Oh, you know why I call him DDs? Because we fucked 12 times or whatever the fuck she says."
Jesus.
Like it's so bad, and the art is horrible with it. And like he uses snowsuit. I think he proposes in the snowsuit Batman. It's just bad art, and I'm just like, it looks stupid. But also, snow falling onto a black or blue suit Batman looks amazing. So I kind of I think that's why I don't like it. But she looks cool because she doesn't have to wear the wig, which is something they talk about here.
Yeah.
They're like, you don't have to wear the wig anymore, which I don't know if they ever said, like, I understand why she does it. So people don't know. I always thought it was kind of dumb that she wears a red wig and her hair is red.
Yeah.
I think you would change it up, but whatever. But yeah, so she just has a cowl that doesn't have the wig anymore. And it's like an all white suit. But she does have fur on, which I thought was funny. That's kind of like around her cape, which I think just adds to it. But yeah, so we see them. They're in this like they're going to this big ancient like. We find out later it's a ship that's 5 miles long, which I think is crazy. But then when you really think about it, 5 miles. If you think about walking 5 miles, it seems like a really big length. But if you think about flying 5 miles, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Or even driving 5 miles. So like the ship, it sounds huge, but it also is like, it's not that big. And the drummer gets shot by a defense system. Batwoman and Luke are able to save her. They're like, all right, we got this. She ends up being able to drum on the thing and explode it. So like she knows how to like, survive herself. And yeah, we find out we get to see this crazy expansive, like how big this ship is. And there's something happening on the ship that it's about to explode. So I don't know where your reference comes in. So I don't know if you want to take it over.
Yeah. So when they see like the ship itself or whatever, there is a panel that says you see the drummer looking at these like cases with these skeletons in it.
Yes.
And they all say, or at least one of them says, Century Babies.
Mm-hmm.
So I recognized that and I was like, where have I heard that before? So I looked it up. It says here, the skeletons are century babies, people born on the cusp of a new century who embody what the century will bring. In The Authority, Jenny Sparks was the century baby of the 20th century. Jenny Quantum of the 21st, Elijah Snow, Axel Brass, and Brett Leather of Planetary were also century babies of the 20th century, as was 80 Vox of Monarchy, and now Bones. So Planetary is a Wildstorm, The Authority, like universe. Like this is all The Authority being brought back into like actual like, hey, we're gonna make this a big point in a DC book. And I think that it is done on purpose,
for sure,
because we have The Authority coming to the DCU, and so they need to be back up and running and be at least somewhat visible for people to be like, hey, we want to know more about these characters. And so seeing this here, I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah. I figured because I did see all the glass cases. I was like, that's probably got to be a reference to something. And then there's the book at the end, which is the Planetary Guide. But I've said this many times that Tom King is a big person that does this a lot. I love people that take old characters, old concepts from the books and try to reimagine them for the new age. And if they're going to do that with The Authority and, Wildstorm, I'm totally down for it. Yeah. Would not shock me if James Gunn announces a Wildstorm movie to bring in Jim Lee's characters, So, because Jim Lee would probably make crazy comic covers for it, do the artwork for it, would do all that stuff. Would love to get a Jim Lee cameo in there. Would be fantastic. But Wildstorm just seems like something up a James Gunn's alley.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, and I think you could probably cast somebody really cool to play Grifter. I'm thinking like, well, a Bradley Cooper or Chris Pine kind of guy to play Grifter, you know. I think it'll be pretty interesting.
You know what? Just because he has been blowing up in popularity, he is now going to be in a movie called The Stuntman.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind Ryan as
I saw the trailer
Joker.
for that recently. It looks pretty funny.
I saw like it like starting to play on my Twitter feed every once in a while. I was just like, it doesn't look that interesting. But it was only like the first 2 seconds when like you really didn't see anything.
Yeah.
I saw that trailer for the first time when watching the Marvels. That movie looks fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it looks good. I don't know what I watched it on, but it was something where I was like forced to watch the trailer, and I was like, huh. Because at first I thought it was a movie about a stuntman. I didn't think it was funny. And I was like, I don't care about watching a stuntman movie. But then I was like, I saw them like making out like right before a stunt or something like that, which I think is funny. And I was like, oh, what the hell? And he goes and does crazy shit. I'm like, dude, Ryan Gosling has won me over since seeing him in Barbie. Like, I mean, I've seen him in other movies like Drive and stuff like that, which are really good. But like what he was able to do in Barbie was just so funny.
Yeah.
So like I'm down to watch him in whatever now. But yeah, overall, Outsiders, solid book, ladies and gentlemen. If you're looking to pick something up new and it's just starting, highly recommend Outsiders. The team behind this are solid. Again, we covered Batman Nero Year Gotham or whatever the whole title is now. Fantastic book so far. They wrote probably the best story in the DC, what are they called? One Bad Day series. They probably wrote the best one, which is the Clayface story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would follow this team. I think this team should be on Batman, in my opinion. I think they should take over for Zdarsky. And yeah, I think Zdarsky needs to get off at 150. That's coming up. I think that should be his swan song. 150, get him out of there. Bring on these guys, in my opinion. But yeah, that's pretty much all the books we got, ladies and gentlemen. Clay, you are in a new spot. What do you got going on nowadays, man?
So right now, I'm just gonna have Star Wars Alliance. I do have, of course, projects for Batman News Weekly planned and just finding the time for them. So those will be coming back. I'm really excited about doing research for a lot of those. I even shared the list with Juice right before I left, and I was like, "Hey, these are the things that I'm going to be working on." And they involve a lot of books that I have never read before. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then I just have Marvel Snap that I'll be playing from time to time. With the new job, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to be able to stream, but I still do want to play that. So just catch me up on Twitch.
Nice, nice. I am grinding. I will not stream until this channel is out. You know what? Barring anything crazy happening, by the time of the next time we record, the new channel will be live.
Nice.
So, yeah, barring anything crazy happening. So, yeah, that's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming back. Clay is back. Clay's in a new spot. Everything should be normal going forward. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. As always, he is Fanboy Clay. I am Juice Wayne. And remember, Batman is awesome.
News Weekly.